Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council Clerk, can you please do the roll call for this evening?
Councilwoman Melly Garthwaite is absent. Councilman Brian Locks.
Councilman Brian Locks, present.
Councilwoman Ann Heffernan.
Here.
Councilwoman Michelle Coletti.
Councilwoman Michelle Coletti, second district, present.
Councilwoman Sarah Akbarali is absent. Councilman Gary Donovan.
Councilman Gary Donovan, fourth district, councilman, present.
Councilman Edward McMillian.
Councilman Edward McMillan, present, fifth district.
Councilwoman Dawn Callahan.
Councilwoman Dawn Callahan, sixth district, present.
Councilwoman Kathy Tucker.
Councilman Catherine Tucker, seventh district, present.
Councilman Christopher Vargo.
Councilman Christopher Vargo, 8th District, present.
Councilwoman Katie Muller.
Councilwoman Katie Muller, District 9, present.
Councilman Stephen Johnstone.
Councilman Stephen Johnstone, 10th District, present.
And Chairman Nicholas Pascal.
Councilman at-large Nicholas Pascal, acting as chair, present.
We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
We do have a quorum. Thank you. Okay, the first thing on our agenda, we're a little late on, 6:55, public hearing for Communication D. Councilman Donovan?
Public hearing on Communication D from the December 11th, 2023 agenda for Mike Agello, Deputy Corporation Counsel, regarding the potential sale, lease, or transfer of 22 Ocala, transferring half of the property to 16 Ocala Street and the other half of the lot to 24 Ocala Street. Is anybody from the public have anything to say on this? For a second time, does anyone from the public would like to speak on this? Third and final time, anyone from the public like to speak on this? Seeing none, the public hearing is over, Chairman.
Thank you very much. All right, the time is now 7:03, and we will enter into public session. Does anyone have anything for the council this evening?
Gonna be a busy night. Hi, I'm Kathy Hebert. I live at 166 Bloom Street, West Haven. Okay, I have three issues. I live on Bloom Street, and the other day, Saturday, a couple of my neighbors, we were just doing a informal street cleanup, and I have some pictures because I live right up the street from Oldfield Creek, Morse and Bloom. And every time we have heavy, heavy rain, the water from everywhere, including the pump station and the creek and the sewers, comes up. You can actually see it coming up. And then it recedes, whatever. And we were out there cleaning, and this has happened before. And it's going to be hard for you to see, but there are pictures, and I have some of my buddies that did this. We actually were picking up toilet paper, dried toilet paper that's stuck to the fence, and used tampons. So, and I'm not talking like one or two. I'm talking a lot. So, I didn't think to take pictures till after we had done a lot of cleaning, but if any of you want, I mean, and then there's also this substance I thought was styrofoam. We had like these cubes of styrofoam, and what I learned from one of the other people helping me is it's actually from the treatment center plant or the pumping station. When all the gunk gets compressed, that's kind of what it looks like. So I thought there was all chunks of styrofoam. It was after Christmas, people got their presents, you know, and things blow from the recycle bins, and that's what I thought. But one of the other people helping me said, no, that's not what it is. I can't prove that, but just to let you know. So that's one thing. And I really don't know who to go to. I mean, in the past, I've called Public Works, et cetera, and I know we've got a new administration, so I'll start again. But I just wanted you all to hear that. The second thing is cameras. I know we have the funding from ARPA for the cameras on the beach. And last meeting, Ken Carney said we were actually under budget. And I think it was Catherine Tucker who recommended using the leftover money from Washington on Beach Street to Sandy Point parking lot. Because we basically need it. So Melly Garthwaite, who's not here tonight, but she had followed up and she found out that, from Ken, that I guess it's the West Haven Police Department makes the decisions or will have final input in who gets the cameras, and it's based on high crime issues. Well, I live there, Melly lives right on that corner. So basically, where am I here? We kind of feel from Washington to First Avenue, there's crazy speeding, drunk driving, late night partying, drug dealing, prostitution in the parking lot. And there was one incident, and I don't have the date, but I have the video, where a man was severely beaten and then tied to the top of his car or somebody else's car and driven up and down Beach Street. So I do have that, so I can pass this to you in a little bit. Because that's just, and there is a lot of craziness. But, okay, and then the last thing is, that they've raised Beach Street, or in the process of it. And parts of it are only raised about 3.5 feet to actually 1 or 2 spaces, or parts, 7 feet. And there'll be the side, the graded side. And I guess we ran out of money for the wooden guardrail that we needed along the outside. And Abdul, our city engineer, is getting from the community block grant $150,000 to put up a guardrail. But he's going to put up a metal guardrail, and there's something to do about the grasses as to why there's not enough room on the edge of where the street is and where the gradation is. And there's some protected grass or some grass that will take up, that we can't do the wooden guardrail because of the protected grass. So that's why they're doing the metal, but it's pretty high. And we're concerned about, first of all, I'm losing my train of thought, about the metal looking ugly. We spent all this money making this beautiful area, and now you're going to have this piece of metal blocking part of the view. And as the volunteers that live in the area, we'd be more than happy to help dig up that grass and move it so that we can have the wood guardrail, because that would be much more aesthetic. It would be a little lower, and it would just look nice. And we spent all this money. Why are we going to make it just look like ShopRite parking lot? Nothing against ShopRite. So that, I think, is all of it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Would anyone else like to speak before the city council? Sir?
This is a family thing here. My name's Rich Hebert. I live at 166 Bloom Street. Good evening, council, mayor. I'd like to put in a word for the recycle program that was abruptly ended. I think that was working rather well, and I think a lot of the citizens were participating. I think it had to be promoted more, that whatever we do helps reduce our overall cost for getting rid of their trash. And especially with today, I've been reading on the internet that like coffee grains are being used to make reinforced concrete, and it's less expensive and less polluting to use it. So, I mean, there are things that we could do. I just want to bring that to your attention. I think the other thing that I'm concerned with is litter enforcement. I mean, people come down the street, and they open their window, and they just toss stuff out the window. I mean, I think what has to happen here is that we do need the police department or somebody to nail some of these people and fine them severely. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's not like they just threw a napkin out. They throw out the cup, the bag, and the container for the food. That's totally unacceptable. And, West Haven is a good place. And there's a lot of good people in West Haven. And we don't want that for our environment. We want to have an improved environment. Another question is on the title gate on Beach Street. There's only one port that works. There's supposed to be 2 ports. And this has been going on for years, that one port does not work. Now, maybe not a big issue or not a high priority, but we've been stalled with all the excuses about they can't get parts, blah, 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 blah. But the point is when we have a severe storm, that's going to act as a backup system. It's going to push all the water back up onto, behind the ball fields, all the way up to Bloom Street. That's unacceptable. It's happened before. I've seen the water come up, 10 feet of my front porch. So that the corner house, 2 houses down, his whole basement was flooded from that. So there are things that can happen from not taking care of the things we can. I just want to bring that to your attention. And the last thing I wanted to mention was it's a complaint. I know none of you folks had anything to do with it, but here we spend millions of dollars raising the road over there, and then now they're putting telephone poles. I mean, in this day and age, we have this beautiful shoreline, and we couldn't put in the aluminum poles and put all the cabling underground instead of having those ugly telephone poles on this brand new beautiful street. I mean, that's just something maybe something can be done about. I don't know. But I know it's done in other cities. I know that Captain Thomas Boulevard faced that problem, and you have a reasonable visual presence on Captain Thomas Boulevard, and we're not going to have it on this brand new road. So that's all. Thank you, folks.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Hebert. Sir, yeah.
Hi, my name is Jim Chasen. I've been a West Haven resident for over 35 years, and my wife Nancy's there with me as well.
Sir, your address?
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, I need your address.
Oh, I'm sorry. I live at 45 Florence Avenue. I'm part of the Allentown district, and I apologize for taking your time on this, but I've made several attempts to try to get this corrected, and I've recently contacted Dawn Callahan, who's here tonight, and she recommended that it would be good that I talk in front of everybody to kind of tell you my issue. I guess the big topic is with all this rain we've been getting, I understand a lot of people have been getting flooding on their properties, but at 45 Florence Avenue, I recently found that there is a city-owned and operated drain that must have been put there like 50, 60 years ago before my house was even built. So what's happened over the years is the infrastructure has gotten very clogged, and it can't handle the water. So every time we get a heavy rain, I get like a lake in my backyard and flooding in my basement on occasion. I have contacted Mike O'Brien on several occasions, Abdul Qadir, and they all understand that, yeah, we understand that that's the problem, and we want to do something about it. But I've been following up with multiple calls for like over 8 months now, and nothing's been going on. So I'm really quite desperate at this point. I would really appreciate it if somebody could. And Abdul has a very simple plan to alleviate it, which shouldn't take long at all. But and he's a really nice guy. He's very willing to help out, and he's doing a great job. But the buck just keeps going on and on. So anything you could do, I'd really appreciate it. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chasen, for your comments. Would anyone else like to speak before the City Council? Eleanor?
Eleanor Slumba, 18 4th Avenue. And I'll say hello to the council and to Chairperson Pascale before I put my glasses on, because you'll be out of focus, but I need to see my remarks. Okay, Happy New Year.
Oh.
And may it truly be a new...
Eleanor, before
Yeah.
you go ahead, the other microphone is working. Yeah, that one's out right
Oh, okay.
now. We all want to hear you.
Aren't working yet.
Eleanor...
Maybe not.
Hmm? Yeah, I thought so. I've done this before. Hello?
Hit the button. Maybe if. There you go.
It turned green. Eleanor Samba, 18 4th Ave. Yeah? Is that going to work for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thanks. I'm glad you didn't let me go through my whole spiel without being able to hear me. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And may it truly be a new year for West Haven. As the president of Arts West CT, I was very pleased to note that the arts were top of mind for this council on the night of the menorah lighting, just after we assisted the city with the celebration on the green. And we are so glad to know arts and culture is a priority for the new administration to advance the city and unite its various communities. This is good news. As an arts service organization, it's welcome news. And with the state of the world prompting us to more fully understand each other, the need for arts and culture for our collective mental health is at an all-time high. Now, I'd like to use my time tonight in front of this body to make a brief reintroduction to Arts West CT. Arts West CT was established originally as the West Haven Center for the Arts to engage artists, arts organizations, and stakeholders in finding resources and space for the arts to flourish here. In 2016, it was rebranded as Arts West CT, and in 2019, I was asked to step in and revitalize it. We had a roundtable hosted across the street at Coffee Haven West with about 40 people and began sending out monthly newsletters, which still continue to this day. The mailing list has grown over 1,000%, and that happened in the first 2 years and continues to grow. During COVID, we focused on creating a cultural assets map, which, because there wasn't much else going on except to see what we have already, the resources in the community, a snapshot of what's already in place to support the community. And that project was supported by the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven and now lives on the city's website. If you go to the page called Special Events, it's the third tab down on the left. It says Cultural Assets Map. And then State Representative Dorinda Boer presented it to the community at a second Arts and Cultures Roundtable that we helped to organize in March 2022 at the West Haven High School, where over 100 people were present, including, if I recall correctly, some of you. Arts West CT's mission is to center creative expression and performance by and for the West Haven community. Now, as I said, we are an arts service organization, and that's a kind of organization that exists to help all the entities, big and small, see each other better, and to simply help people stay in the same conversation, because the arts is very diverse and can be very fragmented, and we're not a teaching organization or a performing arts organization or anything specific to a certain genre. Whether you're a painter, a poet, a theater group, a ceramic sculptor, or a piano teacher, or a mayor who supports these things, we exist to help you do your work. Our fiscal agent, the Arts Council of Greater New Haven, is also an arts service organization, and its relationship with us is supportive to help build capacity. And this brings a lot of value, specifically now to the ARPA process, because the last thing that artists and arts organizations should be spending their time on is a ton of paperwork, but the Arts Council, on the other hand, can handle that, and we can help them. Our work is heavily values focused. These are the same values that drive our vision and all of our grassroots work: hospitality, inclusion, collaboration, and centering artist voices. The header on our Facebook page encapsulates this well. Envision with us in Arts Haven, where diverse members of the community come together to share their talents, stories, art, and cultural heritage. So we've gotten some knowledge, I'd say a fair amount, of the community's cultural assets over the past 5 years, but that's completely not, there's always more to learn, more to unpack, more to uncover. The story of what arts and culture is and can be in West Haven is, by its very nature, collaborative and takes many, many different entities. So we do have a number of helpful contacts. We make introductions. People come to our office hours. There's stuff they want to do, and we play a role. And we are compelled right now to focus on restoring what was lost from COVID with these ARPA funds. In the trio of arts, culture, and tourism, we want to see the artists who have been here working, praying, sweating, hoping to make it through. We want to see their work centered sooner rather than later. Months matter, and we honor them in their efforts and want to continue to help. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Lamba. Would anyone else like to speak before the city council? Okay, go ahead.
I'm Ellen Corso. I live at 88 White Street in West Haven. I'm an artist who's lived in West Haven for 38 years. And until Arts West New Haven formed in one form or another with Eleanor Slomb at the helm, I never once showed any of my art in West Haven. I always went to New Haven. I'm going to tell you guys that I did a little research today. Like often when I'm traveling, I'll look at like things to do in the city I'm going to. So 3 of the things to do in West Haven are in New Haven. And one of them just says New Haven, you know, and I honestly think we're better than that. I know we are. But I think a lot of opportunities have been missed in West Haven's cultural growth. So after 38 years, I can tell you the first time that I came to a city council meeting, it was last June 17th, 2023. I had been under the impression for many years that the former Masonic Temple had been set aside and purchased as an art center that was going to open in West Haven. I'd been heard that for years. That night, a gentleman stood up and for the first time talked about maybe an art center isn't the best way to use that, and maybe we'll do a community center, and had all these numbers. And none of the arts community had heard anything about this, nor were we able to speak because there was no public speech that night. So it was a little disconcerting, and it was my first introduction to West Haven politics. If anyone doesn't know what ARPA funds are, it's the American Rescue Plan Act, and it's millions of dollars designated for cities and organizations in cities to dig themselves out of how they were set back from the COVID epidemic. So what disappoints me, I looked on the list of how the ARPA funds are being, have been already distributed. So ARPA funds have been designated for many worthy causes in West Haven, and the money has been distributed. For some reason at this time, $500,000 in ARPA money has been designated for the arts in West Haven, but 0 has been distributed. And, you know, from last June 17th, I just have come back to the council council meetings and watch it get put off. So we have an organization already established. It's Arts West Connecticut. They've stepped into West Haven and created something from nothing, organizing artists and casting a very wide, inclusive net. Because I would say that West Haven is probably one of the most diverse cities, maybe in Connecticut. And the organization's efforts should be awarded and applauded, and they should continue. ARPA funds need to be used to help artists and arts-based businesses recover what they lost from COVID and the community. So I don't understand what the holdup is. I'd like to see those ARPA funds move, and I would like to see that done. All right, so this city is not a Facebook group. We're not West Haven the way it is. You know, there shouldn't be people whispering behind people's backs and talking to this one. You know, this is a business. It should be out in the front. There should be visibility, integrity, and accountability. So I'd like to see those ARPA funds that are right now designated for the arts distributed to the arts with integrity, visibility, positivity. Because I don't know if you guys remember the big sign on the green, the friendliest city in Connecticut, West Haven. And sometimes we're not very friendly to one another. I think the arts is a place where we really have an opportunity to reach across borders, and be friendly and be nice and, maybe even be a little kind. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Corso. Would anyone else like to speak before the city council?
Okay, do I have this right? Can you hear me? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, I'm representing Viva.
Miss, I just need your name and address for the record.
Oh, okay. Sherry Ayudi Washenko, 43 Leicester Street, West Haven.
Thank you.
And I was born and raised in West Haven. My family came over and ran stands in the Seven Rocks. So, and I'm a board-certified movement therapist, and I'm a psychiatric social worker. So I know from all the spheres that COVID really did a number on people's mental health. And there's not enough therapists to go around for the people who need mental health. I also know how empowering the arts are and how therapeutic it can be. And I'm representing Viva Dance and Fitness on right here in West Haven, and we've been very, very supported by Arts West. We've relied on them. We've worked cooperatively with them, collectively, and it's a wonderful organization, and it really captures all of the arts and helps a wide diversity of people. So, so I have to sing their praises and hope that they get the funding. Viva is it's owned by a Hispanic woman who's also a war veteran, and we cater to everybody aged 4 through seniors. I'm 75. I'm in the geriatric belly dance group, and I've danced all my life, so I know how therapeutic it can be. And a matter of fact, I used to run a dancing school right here in West Haven, and taught special needs dance at the community center. So so I'm pretty well versed in the arts and dance and how it helps people in theater, and okay, well, okay, I guess that's about it. I guess what we could use is we have a youth outreach when we have enough funds, which is really important to get kids off the street. We don't really have enough funds right now, like all other arts and other businesses and arts organizations, because I think arts is healing. I don't consider it a business. I can't, because there's too many immoral things that go along with corporate business when it gets involved with healing. And it's not always aimed at the same population or at the same values. So that's another reason why we really like the Arts Council. It shares our values. But we have a kids' summer program, a summer camp dance program, which again is low on funds because of COVID and everything that's done. And we do some work with the handicapped, and we'd like to do more. And we have a scholarship program where people can pay just what they can pay, or nothing if they can't pay anything. But again, those programs are very underfunded, and we'd like to spread out. And I'll end for now. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Ayudi. Would anyone else like? Yes. Thank you.
Am I hitting you? Are you sure? Are you sure? Okay. Hi, folks.
Hi.
My name is Hope Chavez. I am the Executive Director at the Arts Council of Greater New Haven. Our address is 70 Audubon Street, second floor, New Haven, Connecticut, 06510. I'm also a New Haven resident myself, down in City Point. I am right on the line. I come over into West Haven like spit, and there I am. Thank you for your time in this open session to let us come forward and speak. And I really want to thank, there's some familiar faces here who are on the ARPA committee. I've been working for the last 3 months, though the work started long before that with my other colleagues at the Arts Council to secure $425,000 of the $500,000 that you earmarked of ARPA dollars for Arts West CT. So we were going to be the ones to sign the contract with you as the fiscal sponsor of Arts West CT, though it would be your folks here on the ground making decisions and allocating those dollars, right? I am aware the contract is not moving forward in its current state, but I'm here because I'm really encouraged and excited by the conversations that you're having. I've met with Dorinda Boer. I'm grateful that this is a high priority for all of you, and I'm here to keep encouraging that dialogue and to keep putting this at the forefront of your minds of how urgent this issue is. I think a lot of people either don't know what an arts service organization is or what we do specifically at the Arts Council, so I just want to introduce myself to those who don't know. We are one of 8 designated regional service organizations by the state of Connecticut, so it's in our charter that we are one of 8. We're given a region of 16 towns that we serve. And we do a lot of things. We consider ourselves very responsive to whatever the needs of the community are. But as we go into our 60th year this year, we are continuing grant making. We have quite a robust infrastructure to lead panels that decide grants. We don't decide. Our staff does not make those decisions ourselves. We do advocacy like this at the hyperlocal level and at the state level. And then professional development for artists, arts administrators, right? We really help with capacity building, like what we've been doing with Eleanor. And in just the 3 months and change that I've been spending here in West Haven, I've learned a lot about your community. I've learned that they are deeply passionate. They are deeply hungry for this community's arts and culture ecosystem to bloom. They have a capacity for symbiotic relationships across all kinds of beliefs and regions and towns and neighborhoods. I keep hearing this vision, this very clear vision to have a bustling West Haven that's got a downtown with a community arts center, with theaters, with more murals, with concerts outside, right? Your town is hungry. They are very hungry for this, and they're ready to put in the work. And I've also seen a demonstrated patience for the very inherent bureaucracy and red tape of what it looks like to get government involved with making this happen. Frustrations, yes, but a lot of patience, and I really admire that. I consider myself a student of Octavia Butler and Adrienne Ree Brown and their prolific writings, and something that I focus on constantly, both personally and professionally, is how they both write about change as the only constant in our lives. It's the only thing we can count on, for sure. And I consider it my responsibility, both as a leader and as a values-driven human being, to figure out how we navigate all of that change in as responsible and humane and kind a way as we possibly can, and hopefully to make it joyful along the way. So we, at the Arts Council, your Arts Council, you fall in our community, right? Are really excited to stand with you at the ready, however that works, to create and support the systemic and lasting arts ecosystem that this community is so hungry for. I want to stress that I have seen in my professional and personal experience that this always happens. Culture change always happens top down and bottom up. You need both, right? So we're here to stand alongside all of those very complicated lines of what it looks like to have government support it from the top down and what it looks like for community to support it from the bottom up. We do everything that we do at the Arts Council in partnership. We really believe that whether it's an individual partnership or institutional or governmental, right, we are doing all of that in partnership with the very firmly held values of equity, of anti-racism, of community and collaboration. And we have found those partnerships already here in West Haven with Arts West CT and the over 200 members that we serve in your city. So we have over 200 members here in West Haven. But I'd love for the municipality to be a part of that. I'd love for you all to join us and link arms in that. So my call to action today is really just an invitation to you to be a part of this positive change, this change that we know that is here. I know Mayor Boer wants to facilitate that and put West Haven right here on the map of arts and culture. I'd love to talk to you at any time about what's already sort of in the works from the Arts Council's perspective. And I also want to inspire you that as part of our region, you are part of what is only an 8% landmass of Connecticut that actually creates over 20% of the state's arts-related jobs and revenue. So you're part of a very economically powerful arts and culture region, and we want to help you keep, pushing those numbers up. The Arts Council often plays a quiet role in helping to sustain this ecosystem, and we'd love to keep being quiet but very intentional partners with all of you. So I hope you'll continue listening to your neighbors here that have spoken so boldly, and help us pave that path forward. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, Ms. Chavez. Would anyone else like to speak before the city council? Miss?
Dale Isola, 90 Honeypot Road, West Haven. I am here because of my family's property on Ocean Avenue, District 9. This property has a paper road, a cement wall with a drain, I am not sure if that's what it's called, and a private right-of-way. So the city of West Haven can clean it up. The water that enters comes from Jones Hill Road and Hubbard Farms and goes into the ocean. Also, for this particular house, my family's land ends and then there is the beach. Previously, before 2023, this beach and cement wall with the drain were cleaned. The seashells were crushed and put in parking lots along the beach. Last year, starting in March 2023, we were told many things about why the cleanup was not taking place. One being that we were waiting for low tide. Finally, they did come out once, but this needs to be checked periodically because of what is involved. Homes before my family's house were clean of seashells, so all should be. This year, because of last year, I decided to start questioning early. I have used many modes of contact without callbacks. Even though I was promised them, we have no success in receiving an update. Can the city council get my family an update that we have been requesting? This update would involve the periodically checking and cleaning up of the cement wall with the drain and the seashells on the beach. In closing, on December 6, 2023, article in New Haven Register states, to the best of my knowledge, that Nick Pascal promised to regain residents' trust. It is very important to the residents on how they are treated. This is how you gain trust. Callbacks, when promised, are the right thing to do. Thank you.
Miss, can you tell me where the drain is again? I didn't
It's
get
at 111 Ocean Avenue.
111? Thank you. Thank you for your comments.
And can you get a call back, can we get an update, please?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak before the city council? Yes, thank you.
Good evening. My name's Elizabeth Santos, and my business is at 375 Morgan Lane. I'm a business owner, and I'm a resident of Orange, but I also am the treasurer of Fuse Theater of Connecticut, and we are based, or trying to be based, in West Haven. We have tried for 4 years to do performances here in West Haven. The difficulty in being a theater company in West Haven is we don't have any space. There are very few places that would accommodate a theater performance. We're really grateful that we are working this year with Music Back Then, which is on Bull Hill Lane, to put on some performances, but they're really designed for music performances, not theater. So we need backstage areas, and we need some different ways of getting onto the stage, a much bigger stage to do what we need to do. And so our hope has been for the past 4 years that the Arts West CT initiative, that the Masonic Hall, that those things were going to develop into a performance arts center where we would have a theater home. And we'd really like to encourage you to continue to do that, because what we bring to your community in theater is it's really quality, it's amazing performances, and it's an opportunity for your community to get involved in theater in a community level. So I really encourage you all to maintain the ARPA funds, to designate them, and to set up some sort of a performance space for the artist community here in West Haven. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Would any, sir in the back?
James Celestine, 14 Crescent Place, West Haven. So I just want to say congratulations to the new committee. And I know for a fact that things will move on. And we are so happy and pleased to see so many good people sitting up there. Thank you so much. I'm here on behalf of Art West CT, and I just want to drop in my 5 cents. The arts is a really good place for our kids, our young people, our residents. There's so much that we can do, and there's so much that our kids can learn. Arts is something that is needed today. As we look around with the things that's happening today, and some kids don't have anywhere to turn to. Arts is something that helps the soul and mind. And I know for a fact that all of you will be part of the Art CT West. I know our new mayor, congratulations. And I also know that you've been part of Art City West. So I know for a fact that things will happen. And to all our citizens of West Haven, it's a beautiful place. We have so much to offer, especially in this state of Connecticut. I travel the whole state of Connecticut on a daily basis through my job. I know every town in Connecticut. And I know for a fact that West Haven, what we have here in West Haven, is awesome. We just need to market it right. We just need to put it out there. And I'm asking you, please, to sit down and rethink this whole process of Art City West. Eleanor been working diligently, hard to get this off the ground for results. We need results. It's a new year. We need product. We need productivity and results. Thank you, and thanks to everyone who came out tonight to speak. Please give it some thought, and Madam Mayor, please come back to the team. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Schlesing, thank you for your comments. Would anyone else like to speak before the City Council? Sir? Oh.
Okay, congratulations to the new mayor, and to the whole committee, and I'm gonna make my formal introductions even to everybody here. I'm the co-founder of Music Back Then, performance theater located 221 Bull Hill Lane.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, sir.
Craig Hargrove.
Thank you.
I'm originally from New Haven, but I'm not new to West Haven. Just to give you an idea how much I know West Haven, I knew when it used to be a music park way back then. Savin Rock. That's how much I know of West Haven. My kids went to West Haven High, because I know a lot of the school districts. But to make a long story short, I'm not going to take nobody's time. Myself and my partner, we planted our roots in West Haven because we saw the culture. We saw the diversity, and we saw the love of all races. Thanks to Eleanor, we had a All Nations Day, where we had people from all walks of life, and that's what we wanted. We wanted to integrate to the community and wanted the community to integrate to us. We call ourselves music back then because we go that far back, but we also want to reach out to the new generation. This is why I'm in the support of them as far as helping them try to get some funding, because the kids is really the future. It really is. But we got to lay the groundwork for they can follow through. So in closing, like I said, we're here for you. I hope you're for us. I'm in support of Arts West and all the community people here. Because like I said, like they all said, I heard the voices. I seen them, I met them. There's some great people here in West Haven. You know, like I said, one time I lived in West Haven, I moved my kids to West Haven because it was great. New Haven had its time, now it's West Haven's time. It's really what you want to do. You know, I'm gonna just keep it 100. This is the town. You know it, I know it. Think is what we're gonna do about it. In closing, thank everybody. I hope you welcome music back then. And I hope you see you soon at our establishment and you become part of us and we become part of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hargrove. Thank you for your comments. Sir? Yeah. It's only one time. One time speaking. Yeah.
Andrew Thorpe, 278 Main Street, apartment F305, 3rd District. I'm going to keep this short. For one, congratulations to all of you for coming into the new year. And I grew up in a small rural farming town here in Connecticut, and I watched as the fields were taken out, topsoil was brought down to the hard pan, and suburbia was brought up. The community was destroyed and people were pushed apart. I've lived in a lot of places since then, and I have to say this town is special. There's a lot going on here. It has momentum, and it should be kept going that way. This town is wonderful, and hopefully this new town council and this community can keep that going. So that's all I have to say right now. Thank you kindly.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Would anyone else like to speak before the city council? Sir?
Hello, everyone. Stephen Brabham, 13 Valley Brook Road. Also the owner of a sound company in West Haven, Sounds Unlimited. I'm learning a lot as I stand here. My journey's been DJing, as I have a career, but as a second business, I have a music business. We were playing music on the beach for quite a while. Through happenstance, kind of met Eleanor last year on a collision course on some scheduling conflicts. But we've since, started working together, and a couple of events, we have some events in planning, and I thank you, Mayor Bora, that you're going to meet with us next week. I'm really excited about that. Just want to say that really inspired by what everyone's saying here. My role would be to be a conduit to help everything that everyone wants to do with the talents that my company has. And pretty excited. We have some pretty exciting ideas with Arts West and with Umbrella Impact and Sounds Unlimited to provide valuable substance entertainment for youth, seniors, and for adults in West Haven. So I just offer my excitement to be involved in that. I haven't been involved with Arts West CT for longer than last year, just learning about it this year. But just hearing everyone talk, I'm excited about what we can do, and I'm looking forward to being a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Would anyone else like to speak before the city council? The second time, would anyone like to speak before the city council? Oh, I'm sorry, you and then, yeah. Let's see, Andrew.
Hello, good evening. My name is Leonore Rodriguez. I live at 399 3rd Avenue. I speak very loud so everyone can hear me. Generally, I like to speak on all things older adults because not only am I a gerontologist and I work at a senior center, but I am also an artist. So I am here in support of Art West CT. Eleanor here invited me, she encouraged me to come out, and I really wanted to just speak very briefly on why this is an important development for the city of West Haven. Economic development is on your roster for tonight, and without the arts, economic development will not happen. We are very much a sports-driven town, and that's great. But the arts does a little bit more. I'm sorry for anyone who's listening who's into the sports, but it does a little bit more because it reaches people of all ages all the time. Not just when we're a youth, not when we're in best of conditions, but at all ages. I see it every day at the senior center. We offer various types of artistic creation, musical pursuits, you name it, we do it. And I think it's something that the city could really work together on and develop so that it attracts more people here. We need to develop our senior center here, and we also need to develop our arts. We have Eleanor, who has taken the reins, and all these wonderful people who have spoken tonight. My name again is Leonore Rodriguez. I'm not running for anything, but I would like for you to all to really consider the arts here in West Haven. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Would anyone else like to speak before the city council? In the back? Yes. Thank you.
Hi, good evening and Happy New Year to everyone, and I applaud everyone who's new. Welcome. My name is Carmela Quiñones, and I live at 215 Beach Street. And yeah, you know, I'm reading something here that says West Haven prides itself on being home to the longest stretch accessibility shoreline in Connecticut. That is something to be proud of. I serve in the Coast Guard, and my passion is the water. Protect the water, and the beach is something to also honor and take care of. I'm here to serve. I want to be part of the solution, not the problem. I've been here 12 years. I'm not originally from here. But I am really looking forward to the new staff that West Haven has. I mean, you know, this beach has to be maintained. It's beautiful. I know the previous administration would always talk about the beach. It has to be maintained. And it takes a village. I mean, the community gets out there. We cut the grass, we weed whack, we pick up the garbage, and bad behavior we have no control of. People toss garbage, and it's not even worth arguing and getting into a fight with someone. But that is our home. That is our home, and I'm here to serve. And so I am proud to live in West Haven, and I hope to be here for a very long time. My grandkids love the beach, but I want to be able to take care of it, but I want to be able to do something. So I'm here to serve wherever you need. But you can start by ripping off that wooden fence that's in the front there. But again, you have to maintain it. And I'm very honored to live in West Haven, Connecticut, and I promote when I know that there's a new business coming into West Haven anywhere on Beach Street. I've heard that there's been some new, something about an artist that's taking over. It's, I think the person used to own a metal establishment, and I've met the owners. Whenever I see somebody moving in, I'm going there. I want to meet the owners. I want to know, this is my home. How can I serve? I know that the motel, I mean, you hear things, you never know what's true, if it's a rumor or anything. But it would be silly on my part to just stand and just pay taxes and not get involved in my community. This is my home. And I want to thank everyone who at least comes out and says, we're here. You know, even though we have differences, we are here to support the new mayor and the entire staff. And I wish you luck. I wish you luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Quinones. Thank you for your comments tonight. Would anyone like to speak before the city council? For the second time, would anyone else like to speak? I'm sorry, Ms. Ayudi, it's a one-time speaking rule.
Oh, I thought you said for the second time.
No, yeah. All right, I'll start again. Would anyone else like to speak before the city council? For the second time, would anyone like to speak before the city council? And third and final time, would anyone like to speak before the city council? All right, public session is now closed at 7:56. Okay. So we now enter into our, we will now convene the City Council of January 8th, 2024, regularly scheduled council meeting at 7:56. Before we begin tonight, I just want to do a moment of silence for Councilman Donovan's father, Walter Donovan, who's a fantastic family man, a gentleman umpire, and a true Westie. So if you could all just join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Mr. Vargo?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to quickly recognize the Shoreline Sharks Girls Hockey U12 Blue Division team, which is a regional hockey team that there are a number of Westie U12 girls playing. They won the Winter Classic Futures Tournament in Princeton, New Jersey this weekend, and they went undefeated.
That's all right.
Thank you, Mr. Vargo. So we do have some amendments we need to make to the agenda this evening, and at this point, I'll have the clerk read them into the record.
So we will be amending Communication H, and it will read as follows. From Communication H from Mayor Dorinda Borer regarding the creation of an Economic Development Director position. And Communication I will read as follows. Communication I from Mayor Dorinda Borer regarding the creation of a payroll manager position. Communication J will read as follows. Communication J from Mayor Dorinda Borer regarding revising of the grants coordinator position to a director of grants and adjusting the salary. And Communication K will read as follows. Communication K from Mayor Dorinda Borer regarding restoring the salary of the Commissioner of Planning and Development position.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to make those amendments? Mario, second by Donovan.
Fargo, seconded by Donovan.
Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. All right, and at this point, I'm looking for a motion to approve the Journal of December 11th, 2023. Do I have a second?
Who made a motion?
I'm sorry, that's on me.
You made a motion.
I'm looking for a motion. Do I have a motion?
Only because I didn't hear it.
That was me.
Okay.
Kathy Tucker. Do I have a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I need more water. I didn't do abstentions? That's lazy. I'm sorry, any abstentions? Motion? You have an
John
abstention on it?
Stone's abstaining. So you missed it.
That's why I missed your hand. Motion passes by majority. All right. At this point, will the council clerk please hand out the communications for this evening?
Certainly.
Thank you.
So we have before us Communication A from the tax collector regarding overpayment refunds for December 2023, which will be filed with tonight's minutes. We have Communication B from Maureen Lillis, Director of Health, regarding the late fee waiver for Fatty's African Hair Braiding, 558 Campbell Avenue, owner Betumata Sayal, being assigned to the Finance Committee, acting Chairman Vargo. We have Communication C from Diane Dietman, Director of the West Haven Youth and Family Services, regarding applications to the Community Development and Administration Block Grant Program Year 50 for funding for program for families of children with special needs in the amount of $9,750. Adolescent and Young Adult Social Club in the amount of $4,200. Respite Care for the Parent Support Group of Special Needs Children in the amount of $3,000. West Haven Youth and Family Services Clinic in the amount of $5,000, and Emergency Assistance in the amount of $8,000, being assigned to the Finance Committee, acting Chairman Vargo. Communication D from Joseph Perno, Chief of Police of the West Haven Police Department, regarding animal shelter donations, being assigned to the Finance Committee, acting Chairman Vargo. Communication E from Mark E. Payne, Jr., Director of Parks and Recreation, regarding application to the Community Development Administration Block Grant Program Year 50 for funding for ADA access at Oak Street Beach in the amount of $27,000, being assigned to the Finance Committee, acting Chairman Vargo. Communication F from Abdul Qadir, City Engineer, regarding application to the Community Development Administration Community Block Grant Program Year 50 for funding for Beach Street fencing in the amount of $150,000, being assigned to the Finance Committee, acting Chairman Vargo. Communication G from Mayor Dorinda Borer regarding an increase to the building permit fees, being assigned to the Finance Committee, acting Chairman Vargo. Communication H from Mayor Dorinda Borer regarding the creation of an Economic Development Director position, being assigned to the Personnel and Civil Service Committee, Chairman Coletti. Communication I from Mayor Dorinda Borer regarding the creation of a Payroll Manager position, being assigned to the Personnel and Civil Service Committee, Chairman Coletti. Chairwoman Coletti, I apologize for that. Communication J from Mayor Dorinda Borer regarding revising of the Grants Coordinator position to a Director of Grants and adjusting the salary, being assigned to the Finance Committee, Chairman Vargo. Communication K from Mayor Dorinda Borer regarding restoring the salary of the Commissioner of Planning and Development position, being assigned to the Finance Committee, acting Chairman Vargo. And Communication L from Mike Agello, Deputy Corporation Counsel, regarding the renewal of the Master Municipal Agreement for construction projects, being assigned to the Legislative Matters Committee, Chairman Vargo. And that concludes your communications for this evening, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. At this time, we will recess for committee meetings at 8:04. And, sorry. First up, we have council as a whole. Communication E from the December 11th, 2023 agenda, which is the amending the rules and discussion therein for 23-25. I'd just like to say I would like to put this motion up favorably. Mr. Vargo has done a lot of work on it. We took the rules, we regrouped them so they made more sense, kind of updated a little bit of the information that's on there in the wording, and I think it came out very well. So do I have a motion for discussion at this point? Motion?
Coletti?
Do I have a second? Second. Thank you. Do we have any discussion on this? Okay, seeing none.
Thank you for the hard work.
Yes, I have to give a lot of credit to Mr. Varga. He worked very hard on this.
John Stone was the second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Got it.
Okay. Now we are moving on to the Finance Committee. Chairman Vargo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The time is 8:05 and your Committee on Finance is now in session. Councilpersons present are Councilman Locks, Councilwoman Tucker, Councilman Johnstone, and myself acting as chair. First item on this evening's agenda is the year-to-date budget review. Is Mr. Taylor available?
Hello, everybody.
organized here. So hopefully you've got the reports. Good. We're 5 months through the year, which is 42%. We always say that because it's important to understand that number versus the where we are in revenue. So just pointing that out. We do have some year-end closing entries that are still outstanding for 2023, which could have a tendency to change the results. So just be aware, as I go forward, that some numbers could change. But I do not think very materially will that happen. We're still tracking favorably in investment income, and we do expect some savings in debt service due to the delay in our bonding. That same delay, of course, is keeping my cash balance lower than it would be had we bonded when we thought we were going to. So we're okay though. We're not hurting, and we currently had at the end of the month, at the end of November, we had $50 million in this Connecticut State Investment Fund. So we're doing okay. Planning and development permits. Excuse me. The permits for planning and development continue just to be rocking in. A lot of building going on in our city, and we're at 76% of the budget already at this point in the year. All other revenue lines are relatively on target. Our expenditures are coming in at 32.6 million at this time, or 38.7%. There are some of the drivers of some of the variances in the numbers. We do have open positions, largely in finance and public safety. These open positions are funding the overtime that you're seeing in those areas almost completely. We do have some overages in financial services and risk management due to us substituting employees. Substituting contract help for employees. So that's costing us a little bit more. Our planned contingencies will fund all of that, and they will also fund where we had to spend some extra money on some IT projects to bolster our systems, which required off-hours overtime. I'm sure you understand, you wouldn't want to shut down the city to upgrade, and at night's the best time to do that with your daytime employees. Sewer results are on target. 51% of sewers has been collected, and they're at 36%. Everybody's around the same target range, and the fire department has collected 55%, and their expenses are running around 30%. And were there any questions on these numbers?
You mentioned a couple times the delay in bonding for the new council members. Could you explain what that is?
Yes. When we go to bond, we have to get a rating from the rating agencies. So think Moody's or Standard & Poor's, those kind of people. And one of the things that they demand is a current audit. The fact that the city was late in getting their audit together for 2021 and then late for 2022, it was not advisable to go to the market and ask those agencies for a rating, because we'd be in danger of potentially lessening our rating. A good rating attracts a better rate, so if we can keep our interest rates low on our bonds, then we could save the city a lot of money.
So that's like our credit score.
Exactly. Looks different, but but it's the same idea. Absolutely.
The one item on your reports that stuck out at me is the overtime. You said that we're about 42% through the fiscal year, and many of the budgets are at or exceed 100% already. Is there a plan to either rein that in or to fund that for the rest of the year?
Yeah, the mayor is very aware of this and reminds me on a daily basis that yes, and there is a focus on that, and it kind of leads into some of the other things I wanted to talk about tonight, and that is filling those open positions. She's been very helpful. As you might imagine, with my focus on getting the audits done, finding time to focus on it and get qualified people into the building to work for me has not bubbled to the top, unfortunately, but she's been really helpful with that. And we now have, I think, not just in my department, but about, what, 22, 23 positions that we're actively advertising for. Job descriptions are written, and you can see from the other items on your agenda tonight that you'll be talking about some of those.
Is there a concern that those that are already exceed 100% are going to go even higher through the rest of the year? Is there a plan to make sure that those expenses are covered?
Yeah, we do have significant funds available in our contingency line, knowing that we were going into another rough year, and also that we were going to have to implement some changes, hire some additional people. We did pack quite a few dollars into contingencies to cover this.
Thank you. Anybody else on finance have any questions? Yes.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Taylor, going off script a little bit, but in terms of revenue, I apologize if I missed it, but could you possibly send the council an update? We're in new year, and it's been almost a year since we talked about and then implemented the paid parking at the beach. And that's something Marb keeps reminding us, that you gotta find ways for revenue and boost revenue. So could you possibly email all of us the updated income sheet and layout of all the different beach parking and what the latest revenue has been, up to date on that, please?
Absolutely.
Or just from 2023, I think would be the easiest.
I'll work with the people who would have that. and
Thank
get
you, I
that for
appreciate that. Thank you, Chairman, that's all I need.
Thank you. Any other questions from the finance committee? Any questions from the council?
When you're done. When you're done. When everybody's
Any
done.
questions from the council?
No.
Mayor?
Yes, sure. Thank you. So a couple of things. First of all, I want to really thank David. He has been working on so many critical aspects at once. It's been like a perfect storm. We've had 3 key initiatives: our 5-year plan, our audit, and obviously our budget, but also our bond rating. So just as a reminder that we need to have successful 3 5-year plans get approved in a row, 3 audits get completed in a row, and balanced budgets in order to change our MARB designation. So that's been something that he's really been focused on. We've been here on weekends, and he's really been driving the bus. So I want to thank him for that, for doing all of that work. On the overtime, yes, overtime is a concern. A lot of it, when I, looked at it, it was alarming, but a lot of that is because we have all these vacancies, so people are working overtime. But going forward, we're asking department heads that their employees not work overtime without a pre-approval, and then a weekly report needs to go to me with a justification of what that overtime was for, with the exception of police, public safety, and with the exception of Public Works Storm Patrol. So Public Works, during the normal course of business, or any other departments, we're asking that they send us a report letting us know what that overtime was for, so that we can track it better. And that's exactly one of the reasons we need a payroll manager, because it has been difficult to track the overtime. Those who punch, it's easier. Those who don't punch, there's a pay timekeeper in each department that tracks that, so it's not in a centralized database. So one of the justifications for the payroll manager.
Just if I could just add a couple of things on there. On the bonding, it is coming up. We will go to market on the 15th, and this week we'll be starting our meetings with our bond counsel, the ratings agencies, and our underwriters. That all starts on the 10th, so we'll be meeting with them. We are going to bond $13.9 million to fund the 2023 capital plan. And then another $10.1 million to fund what the state owes us to complete out the high school.
What was that number again?
10.1.
For the high school?
Right. So it takes the state a little while to finish their audit process and to finally give municipalities the money that they promised. And this will help us replenish our general fund for these things. We will also be retiring $6 million in debt, which is money that we took out anticipating that we'd get the money for the state. We now know the final number, and so therefore we're increasing that to 10.1.
Any other questions from the council? Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Next item is the MARB meeting update. Was there a meeting since our last meeting?
When was that? I don't remember.
No,
if
there
it was-
hasn't been a meeting, but there's been a lot of activity.
Okay.
So if you'd like, I could just go through
Please.
a little bit. Top side, we are expecting any day now for Whittlesey to issue their Phase 1 report, and we've been working closely with them and with OPM to just to talk about it and make sure we're in a good place. We've received their draft, and we're preparing our report on the progress we've made. We've made significant progress over the past several months to make sure that we've tightened our controls, created policies and procedures that work, and put into practice those things to protect our assets. So we anticipate issuing our report around February 22nd, and working closely with the mayor to make sure that happens. The other thing is, within this, we're always being confronted to fill our open positions from OPM and Whittlesey that does comment on that. You got to fill your open positions with qualified people. One of the things that you're going to be talking about later tonight is the level up of the grants coordinator to a grants director. We advertised for a grants coordinator several times. Did not receive one qualified applicant. We received a lot of applicants. People are looking for work, but nobody that could really handle it. So upgrading this position to another level, adding some money to the salary, we believe will start to attract the right person for this job. So important for our city to fill that correctly. So, that's it.
Any questions from the Finance Committee? Councilman Locke?
Thank you, Councilman Carlo. 3 audits in a row, 3 5-year plans in a row, an acceptable bond rating. What does that get us?
That gives us
Hopefully tier 3.
Is that what it is? It takes you from tier 4 to tier 3?
Well, it gets us a heck of a lot. Our financial condition will be so much better.
Yeah.
We'll be able to go to market and go get money on the open market
Sure.
at favorable rates. We continue in this way. Not only will we have the bond rating we have, which by the way is investment grade. It's the lowest investment grade, but it's investment grade.
Sure.
Which a lot of cities can't say. But if we improve that, then we'll be competing with a whole bunch of different buyers for our bet. So aside from getting out of MARB, there's a lot of great reasons for the city to deliver on these things.
Sure. Well, this is a milestone, obviously, that they probably set for us.
Correct.
So, what exactly does that mean?
So it's actually legislation.
Okay.
So it's spelled out in legislation. I think it'd be a good idea if the next meeting I bring a copy
Okay.
of the summary of the legislation
Okay.
that shows what triggers going to a higher tier, what
Okay.
triggers going to a lower tier.
Yeah.
And the bond rating is very, very critical because if the bond rating is impacted, that 3-year trigger starts all over again. So all the work that we've done
Yep.
will create a new trigger. So as David said, obviously we want a good bond rating because we want to borrow at a good rate. But also, eventually we'd like to stand on our own 2 feet and
Right. Every indication from Moody's is that they will not be changing our rating this time around.
What is it today?
Sorry?
What is it today?
Baa3, I believe. Might be AAA3, but that doesn't mean anything to anybody.
Yeah, I know.
it's not the worst.
No, it's not the
Be
worst.
better.
When did the clock start of the 3 years?
Well, 2021, we had one audit that
Yep.
had a surplus. 2022, we just delivered that audit. We had a surplus.
Okay.
So the third one would be 2023.
Okay.
But there's a caveat, and it says that it's 3 years, but if you have 2 successful years and you make a good pitch, it doesn't say that exactly. But
Okay.
I found.
So it's subject to
yeah.
negotiation.
So that's the plan.
Okay. Okay.
That's the plan.
City of Hartford was recently very successful at their pitch. So.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else on the Finance Committee? Anybody?
I do have a question. And is that the same for the budget? It's each of the years, 3 years?
For the
1 year
5-year
apart?
plan, getting approved 5-year plan, yes.
I'll bring, you know what, I'll bring the legislation and
Okay.
identifies the criteria.
All right, thank you.
Yep, so we all know it.
It sounds very promising.
I'm very upbeat about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of work, and by the way, that's my overtime reason. But it's very worthwhile for our city to really get this all done.
And one of the things we are doing on a parallel track, in addition to what the MARB has asked us to do, and Protivity has asked us to do, and Whittlesley has identified, is we're identifying on our own challenges that we see or gaps in our controls,
Sure.
and keeping a running list so that we could present it to MARB and say, this is what we've identified, because really we should be identifying what our gaps are and making recommendations and fixing them. So we are on a mission to find our own, you know, we're not looking for gaps, but if we find them, you know, how we're gonna fix them. And, you know, I'll talk at a future meeting about some of the things we're doing, but one of the great things that we're gonna do is the state of Connecticut is going to provide a state ethics training for all employees. Free of charge. It's gonna be a 1-hour session, and it's gonna be offered online as well. So those are the kind of things they're looking for us to do, to show them that we recognize the importance.
Absolutely. And if you get a chance to look at the 5-year plan, there's a page on mitigation measures, which is our plan for saving money and how we're going to fund our internal service fund, how we're going to create additional monies to put against our OPEB, and continue to grow the general fund.
Councilwoman Tucker, are you all set?
I'm all set, thank you.
Anybody else on finance have any questions? Anyone on the council have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Dave, what excites you most about this update that you're giving? What just sticks out to you as something that you want to be proud of?
I think the continued favorability month after month. I'm encouraged that it really looks like we're going to have a surplus again this year. I'm excited that we might be able to push more money into our internal service funds, because that's become a passion for me. There's so many things that excite me that are going on. Not all of them are in these numbers,
Right.
But you know, the new building and the construction and all the fees that we're getting because people are deciding to invest in our city, condos, new businesses, housing areas. It's very encouraging, you know, to see all that happening.
Right. So then the natural follow-up would be, what concerns you the most?
There you go. Well, it does concern me that we're able to attract qualified people. It's very difficult, very difficult. You know, we have all these great plans and we're doing all this advertising. We need to get qualified people. Now, fortunately, some of the jobs that we're advertising are more of a lower level, and we've been able to start giving the people we have more to do because they're experienced and they deserve it. And so we've been able to fill the lower level positions. So I think we'll find those. It won't be as hard, but getting a grants director, filling the risk management role with a qualified, amazing person is very critical. You know, this council spent a lot of time, previous council, spent a lot of time talking about safety and, you know, how do we keep people from getting injured, you know, and so we've made some strides there, and I don't have it all in front of me, so I can't enumerate. I know she's looking at me. But you know, those are exciting things. Those are wonderful things. But we need to continue to have highly motivated, qualified people in these roles.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Dave.
You're
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Next item on the agenda is Communication B from Maureen Lillis, Director of Health Department, regarding late fee waiver for Fatty's African Hair Braiding, 558 Campbell Avenue, owner Fatimata Sayal, thank you. I am looking for a motion to reject.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? We have asked Corporation Counsel to assist Ms. Lillis in drafting a form for the council to evaluate these sorts of requests in the future. The communication indicates that the proprietor of this business has been late before, and we want to just let the public know that businesses are expected to pay the fees on time, and if there is a legitimate reason, then they can bring that forward. However, since this is not the first time, I think that we're feeling that the proprietor should pay, and just let the business know that is what we are expecting going forward. Any other discussion? Yes, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. Just to add what Councilman Vargo just said, you know, it comes back to, you know, nobody likes to reject anybody on anything, and every situation's different, but this is what's been discussed for several years now, and it's culture, right? You have to set the standard, you have to draw the line somewhere, and for order for things to run smoothly, you know, I don't know if it was a communication lapse with other situations, with other business owners, and certainly not this one, but overall, you know, Marb has reminded us several times, and I know I say Marb a lot, but that's also coming from previous council. We have to right the ship, and it's the little details that we are constantly reminded. And to Mayor Boer's point, it's, you know, that third application, if you will, the third go-around, it's sometimes those little details can sway the needle to the right side of what else are you doing right that's gonna make us make a decision on you. So that's all I have to say. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman Johnson. Anyone else on the Finance Committee have any comments? Yes,
Yeah,
Kathy.
sorry. I don't know how many other people this may impact. And I don't know what it takes to get to the point where you have a significant amount of fees that you need to have them waived. But I see this as a couple of different things that I just want to take the opportunity to point out. That before it even gets to this point, action should be taken, and that should become our standard. You shouldn't have the ability to kind of violate the public health code or whatever got us here, you know, and do that to the point where there are significant, you know, fees that now need to be waived. And this is just one business. I don't know how many other businesses are in this situation, and if you forgive one person, we may have a line down the hall to forgive a bunch of other businesses, and I just think that we want a different community going forward. We want our standards to be the way that they should be, and I think that is the reason why I support rejecting this. That's it.
Thank you, Councilman Tucker. Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
No.
I could talk at the.
Oh, I'm
after.
sorry.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry, Mayor.
No.
You sure?
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Yes. No, I'm.
I didn't see it.
It's okay. I just wanted to echo what Councilwoman Tucker said, because it's about the revenue, but it also triggers the health inspection. So when they don't pay the fee, they're not inspected, and this is about the health of the community. We had 3 businesses today that we ordered a cease and desist order on, because we have to make sure we have an obligation, and especially we're liable as well, especially if we know that there could be a challenge. So we gotta stay on top of this for the health of our community.
Mayor, I have a question for you. Do you know if there's a point at the, with Ms. Lewis's office, that if a business is non-compliant for a certain amount of time, does it trigger something in that office to look into it?
Mm-hmm.
There is, okay.
Yep. So, we had one business, last week, well, not to this, we had one business that was severe last week, but there's inspections that are required, and she sends letters, and then she posts a letter on the business saying that you have to close. We had a business, that was taking that, poster down and opening. So we got together, police, fire, building department, health department, and said, go in, right? So, and that's what we did. And then the owner came and had a meeting with us, but, you gotta take some severe action.
Are you all set, Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Communication C from Diane Dietman, Director of West Haven Youth and Family Services, regarding applications to the Community Development Administration Block Grant, Project Year 50, for funding for program for families of children with special needs in the amount of $9,750, adolescent and young adult social club in the amount of $4,200, respite Respite, thank you. Respite care for parent support group of special needs children in the amount of $3,000. West Haven Youth and Family Services Clinic in the amount of $5,000, and emergency assistance in the amount of $8,000. I am looking for a motion to approve.
Approved. So moved.
Do I have a second? You're not on finance, sorry.
Sorry.
So I have the motion by Tucker.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Is either Ms. Dietman or Mr. Bisaccia here?
It's high here. It's high. I don't think the window opens.
Good evening, everybody. Mark Pisacki, a CVA manager, 355 Main Street. Welcome to everybody that's on the city council. We're starting a new year. I look forward to working with the city council and the mayor on our program year 50 of the block grant here in the city of West Haven. 50 years, can you imagine, that we've been receiving the block grant. As I look back on that time period, I look on so much good that this block grant has done for this community. We've fed the hungry. We've done major capital improvements to the city. We install handicap ramps for people that are homebound. We rehab single-family housing. We rehab multi-family housing. Our basic mission in CDA is to improve the housing stock of the city of West Haven and to create suitable living environments for the low to moderate income population of the city of West Haven. There's just so many things that we've done, and when we come forward with the final list of organizations that applied for the grant, you're going to see the variety of agencies that have applied this year. Basically what you have before you tonight is the communications. We send out an email to the various departments encouraging them to apply for the block grant. So you have 3 departments that have put forth their application, and basically what they need to complete their application is a resolution from the city council saying that you're aware that they're applying for our PY50 grant. And right now I'd like to entertain any questions that you might have.
Do you have any knowledge of the specific programs that this particular communication is seeking to fund? That you could just give us a
I can give you a brief overview. The special needs, the program for special needs children is a program that the Youth and Family Services Director does. They run various events for autistic children and children with various disabilities throughout the year. The parent group is a group where they get together with all these children, and the parents volunteer. One parent supervises the children while the other parents get workshops in order how to deal with the various disabilities such as autism. Like they'll have an autism clinic and how to deal with it, or just things just as simple as a mental health counselor coming in to the parents to explain to the parents, how do you deal with trying to work and bringing up a children with special needs through the system. The adult social club, that once again, that's more of a teen-oriented special needs group that will go on for special events during the year. And the Youth and Family Services Clinic is a program where they actually bring in a counselor to assist children with special mental issues that need to get resolved. And then the emergency assistance, the Youth and Family Director also heads up the emergency assistance for the city. That would entail a person has a fire in the city of West Haven and they need a place to stay. So the Youth and Family director makes an assessment and is able to put them up in a hotel for the evening as an emergency, just to get them settled.
Thank you. Any questions from finance? Any questions from the council? Mayor?
I just want to acknowledge Diane Dietman's work with the families of children with special needs. They had a holiday event, and to see the joy on the children's faces at this event, and it's really a respite for the parents as well. But she does a beautiful job, and they look forward to it. All of these events, so they're really important.
She does an excellent job.
She does.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
I just have one question.
Yes. Yes.
Officer Vargo. Just curious, sir. How many children do you actually accommodate with in these different groups?
The ones in Diane Dietman's group, I believe there's 100 or so.
100? Okay.
Yeah.
And that would apply to the adolescent and what
Yep.
would so that's the overall total.
That's overall total.
Overall total. Okay. Thank
Yep.
you.
Are you all set, Councilman Bivens?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other
Councilman Vargo.
questions? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Communication D from Joseph Perno, Chief of Police of the City of West Haven, regarding animal shelter donations. I'm looking for a motion to approve.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next item is Communication E from Mark E. Payne Jr., Director of Parks and Recreation, regarding application to the Community Development Administrative Community Block Grant, Project Year 50, for funding for ADA access at Oak Street Beach in the amount of $27,000. I'm looking for a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Bisaccia, do you have a high-level overview of what this is?
What Mark wants to do is to enable people that have disabilities to access the beach. That would entail putting in, getting a special wheelchair. It's got the big wheels on it that enable it to go over sand, but it would also entail putting a special mat down from the bike path down to the water, so it would enable people with disabilities to actually get from the walk path down to the water.
Now, this grant is only for that mat, correct? It's not for the chair?
That I haven't reviewed everything completely yet. I believe that we had also discussed a chair. So I believe it's both, but I will double check on that.
Okay. Any questions from finance? Any questions from the council? Councilman Donovan?
How you doing, Mark?
Good.
Good. 1,000% for this. Now, the grant, the 27,000, I looked into these mats 3 years ago. That's an extremely great price for these mats. My concern is you're gonna have the mats out there, you're not gonna have any kind of wooden barrier on the side or anything like that in case a wheelchair does maybe go off the mat for people that don't have the big wheels, right? And two, we do have the beach comber that, how is that going to be brought up and put down again? But, you know, in case the beach comber accidentally runs it over. And I know these are more questions thrown at you to maybe talk to Mark about.
Yes.
Is there a possibility to get more money in this block grant, or is that the maximum they can get?
The issue is I don't know exactly how much we are going to get. As everybody knows, Congress is now fighting over the budget, and there may be a government shutdown. I heard some good news this morning that the Speaker has come to an agreement with the Senate on levels of spending, but they have not, they're still not there yet. So as we work through this process, we're gonna find out a better idea of the total amount of money that we have to work with. Right now, what we do is we base everything on what we got for last year's budget as we go through. And that's the way the mayoral appointed citizen advisory committee will look at it. Good questions. I will bring those back before the citizen advisory committee, and I'm sure when we bring Mark Payne, we interview every single organization that comes to us for funding, and I'm sure they will ask those questions.
I just hate to do something halfway kind of thing. I'd rather get it done right the first time.
I agree.
So, that's all. Thank you very, and again, thank you for all the work that you did.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that. Thank you, Chairman.
Councilwoman Tucker?
Yeah, is there a requirement for the city to provide access to the beach from the ADA perspective? Is it the requirement of the city that we provide that access, or is
I don't
this-
know that there is a requirement through the ADA that we provide that, but I will look into that.
I'm just
find
curious, I mean, if we were just.
Yeah,
to
that is a
say,
curious-
Yeah, not to
you're-
get the grant, what would the
Yeah.
obligation of the city then
Yeah.
be? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
To know.
I'm not aware of any at this point, but I will do some research into it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a requirement. This actually came as a request from one of our residents, Shelley Recchia, who works with Gabby.
Oh.
I think they wanted it at another area of the beach, but because of the parking at Oak Street, I would love to have these, in other areas so that it's accessible where they want to go to the beach. And you're right, this was an inexpensive price. They're very expensive, but very well needed and very well deserved. But I'll double check the ADA requirement. I don't think, when they first came to us, I didn't see anything.
Mark, question 33A lists the grant total at $27,000. That's the total project cost, right? It's $27,000?
Yes.
And I don't see on question 32 that there's any funds coming from the city. So is the intent and the hope that this project will be fully funded from
It
the
would
CDA
be fully
grant?
funded from
Okay.
CDA, correct.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have,
Yes.
hi, Dawn Callahan, Sixth District. I had a quick question. I think it's wonderful. One of my questions, Councilman Donovan asked about the beach, the cleaning, not running it over. Also, is this for one mat, or how many access points are you talking about, for the handicap mat, so to speak there? Is this just one, or is it several spots? Like Mayor
Would be
Bohr
one
was just-
spot at
yeah,
Oak
one
Street,
spot
yeah.
for now,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, like Mayor Bohr
Yeah.
just said, future, I think
Mhm.
it's a great idea to have access points at other, so this is just for one
Correct.
spot, okay, thank you.
Councilman Locke, I thought I saw your hand.
Thank you. I don't know if you know the answer to this question. Is this a seasonal thing, or is this gonna be there year-round?
The block grant? Or,
No,
or
the mat.
Oh, the mat. Yes, the block grant is every year.
Thank you.
Hopefully.
Thank you.
The mat, that would have to be pulled up, I believe.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, I wouldn't stay there year round.
Okay. Portable. It's portable.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All set?
Yep.
Councilwoman Tucker?
It doesn't, thank you. It doesn't appear as though the chair is listed here.
Who's gonna check on this?
You were gonna check.
Yeah,
on
that was something I had a discussion with Mayor Bohr about and Mark Payne during the summer, and I had set aside some funding for that chair.
So it'll be something
Yeah,
separate
because
outside of
it
this,
makes
no-
sometimes people want to go for a stroll on the beach as well, and it's not necessarily important
Mhm.
to go just to the water.
Yeah,
So that was the sort of a line of thinking
okay.
with that.
I just don't wanna miss an opportunity, that's all. Thank you.
And is that a separate grant to the CDA or a separate project? I'm trying to understand.
That's going to
your
be
comment.
rolled into this one at this point. This was something we had discussed doing last summer when we were looking into it. We never got to that point. So Mark Payne and I had been talking, so we're gonna try to roll it into this, and I think he wound up writing the application before that particular component was included.
So does that mean that the 27,000 is shy of what would actually be needed?
No, because I have funds set aside
Okay.
from last year
Okay.
for this.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councilman Johnson.
Thank you. Hey, Mark. A couple things strolling through my brain here. Number one, I'm sure there's some people in this room or at home they're asking themselves the question, okay, what's the maintenance? What's the plan, right? Because we've kind of seen over the years, we do it, we leave it, and then it's someone else's problem down the road. So where are we going to store it? Who's going to maintain it? I think those are key questions. And I applaud you for standing up there because you're answering questions that have nothing to do with your department. So bravo to you. The second part is, I don't know if they still have it. Years ago, I was involved as an advisor in the town of Stratford for the Friends of Short Beach Commission. They raised the funds and they put a ramp in just like this at Short Beach. I think it's still there. I'm not sure. But they would be the perfect municipality to reach out to, and I would look for a lady named Karen Dayton or a gentleman named Bob Jekyll. They were chair and vice chair. They implemented this years ago, and the reception from the community was fantastic. However, they had tons of plans in place. They had a process. They had storage. They went through all the hoops and so forth. So my recommendation to you and whoever else is involved, like Mr. Payne, is I would reach out to them. They're a very similar community like us. They got the beachfront,
Good
and
idea.
they have one, if they still have it. But they did have one, to my knowledge. That's all.
Good
Thank you.
idea.
Any other questions from the council? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next, we go to communication F from Abdul Cordier, city engineer, regarding application to the Community Development Administrative Community Block Grant, project year 50 for funding for Beach Street fencing in the amount of $150,000. I'm looking for a motion to approve.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Mark, could you give another high-level overview?
I think, it was talked about earlier at the public comment about what this was all about. I will address with Abdul the differences between what goes into a wooden fence and what's going into the metal guardrail that I guess he's thinking of. So I'll go forward and address that. I might also add that this whole raising of the road project, that was initially started by CDA. We went and we got a CDBG-DR grant to start doing studies because that is an emergency evacuation route. It's taken many years for us to get through that project, and it's really, I think, a credit to Mayor Borer when she was a state representative. She really did a lot of hard work and heavy lifting with that.
I see from number 32, the project budget. This is actually a $300,000 project, so half of it's coming from CDA,
half of it's
half
coming
is
from
the
other
city.
grants that Abdul is accessing.
Okay. Any questions from finance? Councilman Lux?
Thanks, Councilman Alvarado. Can you quantify for us the costing? Whether it's the guardrail, whether it's the 4-foot black fence, or whether it's the wood with the they're not ballards, but with the stakes. Is that something you can quantify for us? Probably not here today, but
Not here today,
Yep.
but when we interview the applicants,
Yep.
we always ask them to give us 3 quotes.
Okay.
To go out and get us, to make
Sure.
sure that we're getting a good ballpark idea of what this cost is going to be.
Sure.
So, if you want, when we get that information, when we get that final information, I can forward it to the council. if that's something you'd want,
I don't know how
or
everybody
if you
else
wanna
feels about it.
wait
I'd
till
like
the
to see it.
final meeting and go through it. It's up to you guys, however you'd like to do it.
I would just like to know how you came up with this decision to go with a guardrail fence.
Mhm.
I mean, I'll be frank with you, I'm kind of annoyed by the whole thing. I don't
Yeah.
know all the details.
Yeah.
But, just thinking of our shoreline and,
Mhm.
you know, that, the fencing that's very similar, you see on the Mare Parkway,
Mhm.
and what you see on the other section that was redone, I just find it, you know, a tough one
Yeah.
to put a highway guardrail in that section.
Yeah.
That's what I struggle with.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just trying to understand what the costs are. I mean,
Yeah.
let's face it, at the end of the day, if it's cost prohibitive, then it's cost prohibitive. I mean, if we're talking $800,000 versus $300,000, then let's face it, that's a problem.
Right.
But I would like to I guess,
Yep.
I'd like to understand the options.
Yep.
And what that statement of work looked like,
Yep.
or the scope of work that you're trying to achieve there.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Councilman?
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes, I don't like the guardrail either. Unfortunately, it's about the, depth of the slope. So the state came back to us and said that you have to put a metal guardrail there for protection, because of the length of the drop-off from the road. So I'll continue to work with Abdul. It kills me too to see.
Yeah.
I said, what?
Yeah.
So we'll just continue to work with the state. I don't know what other options there are because I think
Yeah.
it's a state road requirement. But I'll continue to look at it. So it wasn't cost, it was safety.
Let's not take no for an answer.
Never do.
That's my fault.
I know, yeah. Yeah,
Thank you, Mayor.
yep.
Councilwoman Tucker.
I think the gentleman spoke about it earlier in the public session, but is there any opportunity, and I don't know if this is even the right question for you, I think you're taking the questions for everybody tonight, but to bury the telephone wires, because I agree, it's unsightly to look at telephone poles, you know, especially in front of the beach. If we can get rid of that, that would be ideal, and I'm just putting it out there because this is our wish list. But
I would agree.
yeah, I just think it's just sad to like have an opportunity like this and not really, you know, take advantage of the opportunity to make this as beautiful as possible.
Mhm.
So, I'm just saying. And maybe even the guardrail, maybe just the part that's too short to put the wood on gets the steel and the rest gets the wood. I don't know. I had to say it just for the record. I feel better now.
Me too. You can sleep tonight.
Good job.
Are you all set?
I'm all set.
Anyone else on finance? Any questions from the council? Councilman Donovan.
Ladies, you sure?
Uh-oh.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. This grant, time sensitive? Do you know?
Well, we've taken all the applications
Mhm.
at the present point in time. The next step is for us, we're setting up a schedule where we'll interview all the grant applicants. Once we interview the grant applicants, we have a final meeting of the Citizen Advisory Committee where they put together a proposed budget. Once we get that proposed budget, we review it with the mayor. Then we have to advertise it for everybody, for the public to see, and give a 30-day comment period. Once we've gone through that 30-day comment period, we're able to bring it before the city council for public hearing and final approval. And that's the process. By the time we unravel that whole process,
Right.
it becomes May.
Kind of adding in my head.
May,
So
June.
We're looking at May, June
Yeah.
at that point. So any delay would make it even longer is what my
Yes.
point would be. So, okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Councilwoman Goulet.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
So my comments, this is kind of an issue that's very near and dear, not only to myself, but members of my former neighborhood association. We worked diligently with the city to kind of work through the details. The final devil is in the details at the end of the project. They were able to put up a safety Barrett Parkway guardrail on part of it. I think just the concern here is I see 270 linear feet of guardrail and 2,600 linear feet of fencing. So I'm in favor of obviously them getting the grant. I plan to vote that way. But I would like to go on the record and say that we would like to have, for at least I would like to have further discussions with the city engineer regarding the material. And I want to thank everyone for their volunteer time. Kathy and Rich Heber continue to be here every single council meeting, as do Bonnie and other members of the organization. And they continue to advocate not only for the neighborhood, but they really get themselves out there for the community with cleanups and every single month in advocacy. So one of the echoed your same concerns, and the thought is we'd like to have a better understanding, and obviously Mayor Borer agrees on kind of the finish and what that might look like. So again, in favor of the funding, always in favor of the funding. And again, I know the details are not under your purview. I just wanted to make the comment that there's again, there's been a lot of money invested in that location.
Yeah.
You've got the former Chick site. You've got a lot of spurring economic development there. Again, my concern is not only with the metal guardrail, but with also the 2,600 linear feet of fencing, which I'm not exactly sure what that is. So, those are my comments. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yeah,
Mayor?
so, why don't we have we'll approve the funding, so we have the money, and then, we'll go back and sit with Abdul, if we could do it this week, and talk
Great.
about the fencing again, and we'll just get the state requirements again, because, as I said, it's killing, $5.2 million this project has kept me up at night from day one, right down to the guardrail, so we gotta make sure it looks right.
If we accept the money, are we able to modify, like, what,
That
after
I
you
don't
give
know.
us the money?
By the time we get to that point where we're gonna accept a project, everything's gonna be nailed down as to what the materials are.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be a period of time that if we approve the
Yes.
application, which you have, you're going to formally accept the application, then you're going to have those discussions with all of the applicants, not only the city applicants, right? You're gonna have those discussions, and then during that time, they will be able to dial in on
Yes.
what materials are being used, and that will
Yep.
give Abdul and the mayor and whoever else time to make those adjustments, as long as it doesn't.
Exactly. We can't, I can't submit a budget to HUD that needs to be modified in the future, because then they would say that's an amendment. And then I'd have to go through a whole nother process to do an amendment. So I'd rather get it right the first time.
Is there a possibility that the application can be amended before it gets approved by the CDA and
Oh, yes, it gets
council?
amended during the interview. When the Citizen Advisory Committee sits down and discusses it with them, sometimes they have stipulations, and they say, this can only be used for A, B, and C. Are you clear? You know, and
Is it
they'll go
possible-
through it, and that's all written down.
Is it possible for the amendment to also include increasing the amount that's being sought?
Yes, the Citizen Advisory Committee has done that as well.
So it's possible that if the mayor and the other staff members determine that there is an alternative, but that is acceptable to the state, but it's going to cost more than $150,000, then that application can be amended to include those additional funds if they're available?
Well, once again, you're gonna have to look into it with the context that the committee does and look at how much money is left with the overall grant and what other organizations are applying.
Gotcha.
Because, you know, sometimes it comes to a decision where if you're gonna do that, you're gonna rob from one agency to give it to another.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Next item on this evening's agenda is Communication G from Mayor Dorinda Boer regarding increase to building permit fees. We are going to be seeking a public hearing on this. However, I would like to give the mayor an opportunity to speak on it, so I'm looking for a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second? Second. Discussion. Mayor, would you give us an overview?
Sure, yep. So one of the things we often hear is that it's difficult to do business with West Haven. I think we all heard that through our campaign, but are familiar with that from our builders and our investors and our home remodelers and those that are just looking to do work. So in working with the building department and zoning, and Kathy Conniff is here as well to help answer any questions that you may have. Our building department currently opens at 9, and we know that, you know, folks in the trades, they're usually on the job sometimes at 7. And there has been a need to open the department earlier. So we're gonna open at 8 a.m. We worked that out with the staff. The staff worked really great with us to make that happen. We're also gonna house the fire marshal in the building department, because right now, if you need fire marshal sign off on a particular project, you have to go to the building department, apply, drive to the fire department to work with the fire marshal, and then go back to the building department. So it's very cumbersome. So we may as well have the fire marshal housed in the building department, 8 to 11 at permit time, and it's gonna be Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, which is our busiest building permit days. And the 3 fire districts are gonna rotate, so they worked that out amongst themselves. So I'm thankful to them for that, for collaborating. We're also gonna be putting a debit machine in the department, very novel idea. That's one of those things we talked about earlier with Marb. I asked all the department heads, going off on a tangent here, but asked all the department heads to send me a listing of what they do cash transactions for. And we're gonna put debit cards readers in all of our departments, to reduce the cash flow, but it also provides a more convenient option for paying, because right now we have ATMs in the lobby, and the folks have to go. I've gone through this myself, stand in line for a permit, and then only take cash. You have to go to the ATM machine. So we're streamlining that service. We're also going out to bid for online permitting. We're one of the few municipalities that doesn't allow online permitting right now. And the goal is to have it be a one-stop shop where you apply for the building permit and it triggers you. You may need health, you may need fire. It kind of guides you as to what other permits you may need. And then this way, like on a Sunday morning, if you want to apply for your permits, you could do so. You don't have to come in. You might still have to come in, but some might. And then also, we're going to eliminate the requirement for zoning sign-off for building aspects that do not by law or by charter require zoning sign-off. So right now, you need zoning sign-off if you're going to have a roof, or you're gonna have siding, or you're gonna remodel a bathroom in your home. Those aren't zoning requirements, right? That doesn't have anything to do with zoning. So today you have to stand in both lines and pay 2 fees. So with the exception of the village improvement district, where there is restrictions on the siding and the roofing and how we do things. But Kathy Conniff is gonna be in the department, and she knows the village district very well, and can probably speak a little bit more to that. But by eliminating that zoning requirement, you only have to stand in one line, and that's going to be a reduction of a fee on that end. So for all of these changes, and in particular, probably installing the software program, we're gonna add $1 to the building fee per 1,000. So right now it's $24, it's gonna be $25. So if it's a $10,000 project, it's another $10. So it actually, we're actually gonna pick up a little revenue doing that, because we're eliminating the zoning, which is about $45,000 in revenue. And picking up the dollar per building fee is about, I don't know, David, we said like about 75,000.
Somewhere in the 70s.
Yeah, so we're not gonna lose revenue by reducing the zoning requirements. That's it, and that's all we're doing? That's enough. Yes, okay. So I know it has to go to a public hearing whenever there's a change in the building fee, but I think it's a great opportunity to let our builders and our investors know that we're trying to make business easier for them.
Mayor, the opening up at 8 versus 9, is that going to require any adjustments in staffing?
Nope, they worked it out amongst themselves. We had a couple of meetings, and I'm very grateful that no impact to the union, no impact to, everybody worked it out.
Great. And my last question is on the debit card readers. Is that debit and credit, or just debit?
Both.
Both.
Right now, they do accept credit,
Okay.
but they don't accept debit.
So the fees for credit card processing, that's already something that we're absorbing now?
Yes, like the tax department. Actually, I don't want to say yes, but in our tax department, yes, we
I
get
know the
those
building
fees.
department does, 'cause I've got
Okay,
it.
so then, yes, so then we do get fees on the building department credit, but we don't allow the debit,
There's a convenience fee for
the
paying
convenience
tax.
fee.
Yes.
And then some departments have no debit or credit readers, like our city clerk's office, or our public works department, or a lot of other departments.
Any question from finance? Any questions from the council? Okay, at this time, who was the second, Madam Clerk?
Johnstone was the second and Locke was the first.
Councilman Johnson, I'd ask that you take back your second.
Yep, I will withdraw my second.
And Councilman Locke, would you rescind your motion?
I rescind my motion.
Thank you. And we will hold a public hearing at our next meeting on January 22nd at 6:55 PM. Next up is Communication J from Mayor Dorinda Borer regarding revising the grants coordinator position to a director of grants and adjusting the salary accordingly. I am looking for a motion to approve.
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mayor?
Yes. Oh, we're on J?
Yes. Did I miss one?
Oh, because we're in the finance committee, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Finance committee.
So yes, so I think, we're all very familiar with the need for an economic development director in the city. We haven't had one, in many years. We have great opportunity. We need somebody professional. We need somebody with the qualifications. We, worked on a job description that is, a combination of other large municipalities' job descriptions. And I want you to know that in the interim, so we're in SCROG. So in the state, there are different council of governments. Ours is the South Central Regional Council of Governments, so we're SCROG. And it's made up of maybe 16 municipalities in the South Central region. And we haven't been there in a while, but I have gone to the meeting, and you have the opportunity to sit on subcommittees. Because SCROG is a regional council of government, it's like a government entity, and it gets significant federal and state grants. And then this is the body that decides where some of that funding goes, whether it's transportation or environment or economic development. So I went to that meeting and requested a grant through SCROG, through their subdivision REX, and we have an intern person who is helping with economic development. He is the former economic development director from Hamden. His name is Dale Krupp, and he has been very productive and helpful. So we have a little bit of a cavalry while we're recruiting. He helped put the job description together and do the salary study with me, and he's also helping to put together an RFP for some economic development consulting aspects. So he's not our economic development director. He's not here full-time, but he has been very instrumental in helping me in my search.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Could you just roll right into the grants coordinator position?
I can
And
roll
explain
right
that
into
to
the
them?
grants coordinator position. This is something, actually, that our consultants have pointed out to us that, we really need to beef up our grants department, because there's great opportunity there for us to bring in some revenue. I look at grants as not an expense, but more of an investment to hire somebody. I always say that you pay, for a grants director tenfold over when they seek and achieve some large grants. So we're changing it from a grants coordinator, as Dave Taylor mentioned earlier. We haven't gotten the applicants for the coordinator, but we think raising it to a director level, and it will be supervising the other grants folks in the department, will help us to achieve a higher level of quality applicant.
Any questions on Communication J from Finance? Anyone from council? See none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. And lastly is communication K from Mayor Dorinda Bora regarding restoring the city, I'm sorry, let me get that right.
City planner.
No. Right, but it's the director of,
It's the
Commissioner of
Planning
Plan.
and Development.
So restoring the Commissioner of Planning and Development salary.
Yes, so,
May I- I'm
yes.
sorry.
Oh, me?
May I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mayor?
Yes, so the city planner goes hand in hand with the economic development director because the city planner works on our plans, and works with the mayor on the vision and looks at whether it's our environmental, our landscape, our management plans, conservation. City planner is key to queuing up the economic development director. And I believe that the salary was cut, reduced because it was vacant and there was only maybe 6 or 7 months left to the fiscal year at budget time. So I think that we need to restore it back up to the original amount so that we can recruit a qualified applicant, because right now this position makes less than the assistant planner and makes less than others in that department, and it just, doesn't make sense for moving forward. It may have made sense when at budget time, but I think in order to demonstrate to an applicant that we're committed to a salary, nothing's carved in stone, but that we want to pay what we think that that person is worth.
And you're comfortable with a salary of up to $100,000?
Yes.
Okay. And can you explain, or perhaps Mr. Taylor, where the funds are going to be coming from for the balance of fiscal year 23-24?
In summary, the budget is sufficient to cover this. And I believe Mr. Donovan made the motion when we cut the salary. The salary for this position was anticipated to be $105,000 roughly. At budget time, we wanted to show some reductions because we knew about some vacancies. We knew that this position would not be filled. It'd be impossible for the mayor, who had announced that she would not run again, to find somebody and appoint them to this job, anticipating that they'd only be here for a couple of months. And it's just hard to find somebody who'd be willing to do that. So in anticipation of that, we cut the budget down to 7 months. Never saying that we wanted to cut the salary, but saying that we would cut the amount to be expended in the fiscal year. So all along, and correct me if I'm misquoting, but all along we wanted to keep the salary up at that point. But we just want to be clear and transparent with this council, just so that you understand, just what all the moving pieces were.
So the fiscal year 23-24 budget reflects the
7/12.
the lower number.
Yes, correct.
And so we're just restoring it to the ballpark of where it
Yeah, that'll give us the comfort to say, yeah, we can offer this person this job, and next year you guys are aware that the salary is higher than what was in the budget this year.
And there's not going to be any additional burden on the residents or the taxpayers to fund this for the rest of this fiscal year. We have enough money built into the budget we have.
We'll be fine.
Okay. Any questions from finance? Any comments or questions from the council? Councilman Donovan?
Yeah, just to be clear, I mean, I was on the council, I didn't make that announcement, but I was on the council, so I didn't want to
You're
take
taking
the
it.
credit for somebody else's doing, so. But I was on the council, as was Councilwoman Tucker, and Johnstone.
Thank you.
That's it.
Any other comments from council?
I have a question.
Yes.
Mayor, the first gentleman or woman, Dale, that you spoke of, that
Yes.
was helped define the position, are they not hireable?
He's retired.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's not looking for full-time, I tried.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
he's
right.
pretty good, and he's, very well connected and knows a lot of developers and has been setting up a lot of developer meetings with me and sitting in on meetings that I have had.
Oh, good,
Because he
fantastic.
talks the talk a little better than I do.
Good, okay.
Any
Thank
other?
you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I want to say that if we said that we heard when we went to the doors that people wanted change, right? So I believe this is the first step towards that. We can't keep doing business as usual, you know, and by doing the research on this and fixing the things we need to fix so that we get leaders in place, is a great first step. And I just want to make that, you know, clear. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to echo that, you know, I know that, you know, everybody wants to save money, everybody wants to reduce the budget and to lower taxes, but the city has to operate, and we have to operate efficiently and correctly, and sometimes that means that we need to spend some money to hire qualified people and put them in necessary positions so that way we can grow as a community, quality of life, generate revenue, whatever the case might be. So Mayor, I applaud you for finding the positions that are necessary and doing your best to fill them, and we'll see what
Thank you.
what other comes up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Just a comment too, I mean,
Yes.
we have to have the resources in order to move forward. I mean, it's like paramount to moving forward, so it's like a great step in the right direction.
Thank you.
So it's great.
We, you know, can't be penny wise and pound foolish,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
right.
That's exactly what that's defined as.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. And that concludes the business of the Finance Committee at 9:16. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Vargo. Moving on to public lands, Councilman Donovan, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. The time is 9:17, and the Committee on Public Lands is now in session. We have before us Communication D from December 11, 2023, agenda from Mike Agello, Deputy Corporation Counsel, regarding the potential sale, lease, transfer of 22 Ocala, transferring half of the lot to 16 Ocala Street and half of the lot to 24 Ocala Street. And before I started that, I should have said who was also on the committee, so I do apologize. We have present Councilman Locks, Councilwoman Callahan, Councilwoman Coletti, Councilman Johnstone, and myself acting as chair. So with that, we have can I get a motion to approve this transfer?
Motion.
Second.
Second? Thank you. Any discussion on this?
Thank you, Councilman Donovan. Mike, could you just come forward, please, so we could just make sure there's clarification and transparency for all at home and who will watch this tomorrow during their lunch break? I know I spoke to Chairman Donovan, but can you just clarify to make sure, so it's not buildable, we as a municipality can't do anything with it?
Correct.
It's just sitting there, we're not collecting any taxes on it?
Yep.
Both homeowners have agreed to take it and accept it on their taxes?
Yes.
And my final question, have both homeowners, because I've heard horror stories in the past.
Okay.
Have both homeowners conducted a walkthrough, a survey to show exactly where the line is? Because I could see a horror story coming down the road of, he got another foot than I did, and this person got another 12 feet. Has there been a distinct line shown to both homeowners, so if a fence were to be put up, it is in the right spot?
I don't believe that we have met with homeowners and showed them halfway across the lot. It's something we could do if you'd like me to do that. It's pretty much been described to them, though, in great detail, that half of that lot goes to the right side, half of the lot goes to the left side.
I think it would benefit us, just for good practice, just to make sure the new property stakes are put in, everybody's aware where they are, and then, as they say, that's a wrap. So that's all I have for you.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just to, Mike, might as well stay up there.
Yeah.
Just to reiterate what Councilman Johnstone was saying, and the other part of it too is, if you look on the map, it looks like there's already something on that property, right? So,
Yes.
So it's not as though that person, that homeowner, is getting whatever is on our property already and then splitting that in half, correct?
Yeah, I think there
It
was a
is-
little bit of an encroachment there already.
Yes.
And I think that the homeowner that has encroached onto that property is getting their encroachment back, essentially. Now, their lot
Yeah.
will now become a legal lot.
Correct.
As opposed to where it's.
As long as
sitting
it's
right
not splitting from his encroachment.
Right, no,
to
yeah.
get more. That's
It's
all.
right in the middle of the lot,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Perfect, thank you. Anybody else from the public lands? How about the council as a whole? Yep.
Two quick questions, Mike.
Yep.
Do we know what grand list will the property be added to? Would it be the one that's coming up on October 1st of this year, or
I would assume it'd be October this year.
October of this year?
Because, yeah, we plan on completing the transfer, obviously, within the next, after you guys approve it, you know, as quickly as possible after that.
And do we have any ballpark idea of what the taxes will?
The value? Oh,
Yeah.
I do not know.
No idea. Thank you.
What's that?
Yep, thank you.
Anybody else? Councilwoman?
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening. Dawn Callahan from the 6th District. I wholeheartedly agree with Councilman Johnson. I've run into a similar situation personally, and I had somebody actually go through and find a stake where the city had come in and put an actual stake, so there's no question. We could say it's split, but then again, what you had said, that when it comes down to splitting hairs, it could get a
Yeah.
little sticky, so
Yeah.
I think it's in our best interest to just cover our backs.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
You
you.
all set, Councilwoman?
All set, thank you.
Anybody else from the city council? All right, seeing none, all in favor? from the
Aye.
committee?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Your Committee on Public Lands Chairman is now closed at 9:21.
Thank you, Chairman Donovan. Moving on to Personnel and Civil Service, Councilwoman Coletti.
Thank you, Chairman Pascal. The time is now 9:22. The Committee of Personnel and Civil Services is now in session. Present are Councilperson Locks, Vargo, Donovan, and Johnstone, as well as myself, Councilwoman Coletti, acting as chair. We have no one absent today. We have before us communication H from tonight's agenda from Mayor Borer regarding the creation of an Economic Development Director position. I think we might have gone a little bit out of order before.
That was
so
me.
We did, no, that's okay. So we did actually already kind of receive a description. So I'd like to make a motion to put this out for favorably.
Motion? Nope.
Make it a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion, Mayor Borer, do you have anything to add?
No, that was me. I
Okay.
talked about it under the grants position, so, but thank
Okay.
you for indulging me.
Okay.
Okay.
I apologize. First should have gone anyone in the committee. Have anything to add?
Oh, no.
Councilman Barco?
Just for clarification, is this a union position or is this an appointed position by you?
The Economic Development Director is a union position. The planning, the Commissioner on Planning and Development is an appointed position, and this position, well, actually, Commissioner on Planning and Development is an appointed position. This is a union position, but I'm requesting that this position be appointed to me.
Okay. And I think just for a point of clarity, what we are being proposed to do tonight is to authorize the creation of the position, so that way you can tighten up the job description, market it, and the job description obviously has, an anticipated salary range, but to fund that for fiscal year 23-24, that will come before us when that time is needed.
Mhm.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the committee? Okay. Any comments from the council?
I'm just curious, length of time from the process that you just mentioned to when Mayor Borer can actually appoint someone. Like, how long do you think this process will take if you have to wait all that time?
I'm sorry. Oh, that was me. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, like, you just outlined a timeline. And I'm wondering, I'm just curious, because it sounds like this is the stuff that we need to get moving, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm curious about the timeline. How long will it take? We can approve this tonight, but how long is it gonna take to get the position funded and posted and filled?
What's
That remains to that question.
Well,
What do you think is that?
What's the
May I-
cycle?
Oh, cycle, I
Comment
said
from
psychic,
time
I'm
of
sorry.
approval to a time the job
I'm
gets
sorry.
posted, something.
So-
Councilwoman Tucker, was that a question from you to Mayor Bohr?
It's a question, just out there to anyone. Yes, Mayor Bohr, if you know the
Okay.
answer, but if not, is there anybody that can answer it?
So my understanding is what you're doing is approving the position, right? So I could go ahead and recruit, but not necessarily doing the funding right now. And then at a subsequent meeting, we will do the funding. Come April, we could use contingency, right? I hope I find somebody before April. But what you're doing is approving the position so that I could go out and show somebody that there's a commitment from the council that the funding will be there. So I can go ahead and hire somebody if I find somebody, right? Because you're creating the position.
So you would hire them in advance of having the funding in the budget, because it's kind of promised that the council
I
committed
think-
to it. Is that
I think
correct?
that's what we're doing by saying
By
we're
saying that
approving the
we're gonna-
position,
right,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, you also.
I'm all set.
Thank you. I mean, just in my mind, the way I see this playing out is that we have a job description in front of us that has a salary range. We're approving the position, knowing that. So in our minds, we have in our minds that that is the range that we're going to approve. That you will market it, you'll interview. If you hire somebody, our next meeting is in 2 weeks. Our meeting after that is 2 weeks from then. So you could say, I like you, I want to hire you. I just need to get this before the city council. I could do that in a week, at most 2 weeks. So, and anybody that is maybe presently employed might need to give 2 or 3 weeks notice anyway. So hopefully there won't be much of a delay there.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the council? Councilman Johnson.
Thank you, Chairman. Just for clarity, for, I guess, history's sake, if some of you recall, it happened past council, it happened councils before that, there's like this mythological creature out there called the consultant in West Haven, and we've paid for so much consulting over the years, but we never see the book and it ends up on someone's shelf. So by doing this, we've already spent, I can't even imagine, hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years in multiple departments, and for the mayor to advertise an actual human being with an office where you can get in touch with somebody, and we've been spending all the money in the process, I think this kind of bridges the two gaps together, where we're no longer going to be in this scenario economic development. It's not going to be a binder on a shelf somewhere that sometimes people just take with them when positions change. So I think people at home, believe me, I'm right there with you, because I voted many times on many times in the past on budget increases. However, we have spent so much money that has just gone poof into the cloud, and we don't know where it went. We don't know where the intel is. This is for an actual human being. I repeat, this is for someone to have an office in City Hall to communicate for that sole purpose. That is all I have to say. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman Johnstone. Any other comments or questions from the council? I just have a quick comment myself. I've worked with many municipalities. I've worked with Steve Madden in Stamford, who is Economic Development Director in Stamford. It's absolutely imperative for change to be achieved that there is a person able to not only execute the plans the consultants come up with, but to be the face and the advocate overall for West Haven. It's undeniable. Everyone's run on it. Everyone's been saying it. Everyone's been hearing it. To achieve West Haven's potential, not only, I believe, do you have to have a wonderful leader in place, as we do, but you also have to have someone with the relationships and the ability and the Rolodex and the business community to execute, to be able to attract mid-sized business that attracts jobs, but that also knows how to advocate for small businesses on Main Street as well, and realize and understand the importance there. So I'm very much in favor of this, and with that, may I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
May I have a second?
We have Johnstone made the motion, Locke.
Yeah, and I
Oh.
seconded it.
Yep. Oh, second?
Yes,
Okay.
I second.
Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to communication I. Communication from Mayor Dorinda Borer regarding the creation of a payroll manager position. May I have a motion, So moved. Second? Thank you. Just a quick comment, if I can comment first. This recommendation came from two separate sources as a layer of checks and balances and payroll between the mayor's office and department heads. I believe the two sources were an audit. I think it started get my audits confused at this point. I'm still getting to know all of the different audits, but I think it was the one that starts with a W. Right, okay. So there was that audit that recommended it, as well as there was a recommendation from Marv. We had a quick discussion about it. Does anyone have any points within the committee? Chair, Councilman Vargo.
Couple questions. This is a union position, correct?
This is a union position.
Okay. I see in the job description that this payroll manager would also handle the payroll for the Board of Ed.
Good question.
It is, I know we're not gonna talk about the mics, we're doing the same thing that we did with the previous communication. But my question is the Board of Ed's budget going to assist with covering for this salary, since it seems to be like a dual role here?
Yes, so, thank you for that question. The superintendent and I this is a recommendation that we start to combine our payroll systems because they're a little disjointed. So we have both committed to work together, but, we need a payroll manager on board to help us, bring that together. So we're gonna hire the person first, and then that person's gonna help us bring it together. We didn't talk about the Board of Ed helping to share the cost. I didn't get that far yet, but we will. But yeah, the goal is to have this one payroll manager help manage payroll for both.
Is this a full-time position?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a human being.
With an office.
It's a double bonus.
A real person?
We didn't say an office.
I probably should have asked this, but I think I can just ask globally. Will either of these two new positions require hiring additional support staff?
No, not more addition than we already have vacant. So we have 4 critical vacant positions in our finance department, 2 that are not on here because they're already existing positions. So we have our finance director, and David's been stepping in as the acting finance director. We have the payroll manager, which is newly created. We also have a junior accountant and a senior accountant, which are critical positions that have been vacant for over a year. So those are big gaps. So no, there won't be additional staff. Ideally, we get all these positions filled.
I was also thinking secretarial and administrative. Do we have sufficient staffing in City Hall to
Don't ask
support
David
this?
that question. Yes, we do. We do.
Okay,
Yep, we do, and I think we could switch some duties around with union approval.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional, Councilman Johnston?
Thank you. So I spoke to our treasurer, Ron Quagliani, earlier today to gather his thoughts on this. Because as we are all well aware, he's probably gonna need a sponsorship from Staples for his penmanship at some point. But with all seriousness, this is, as mentioned before by a couple, this has been, I mean, pretty much slapped across our faces for for a long time now by Marv, that, you know, it's part of the checks and balances, it's part of the appropriate procedure. And it's a safeguard, you know, we've heard, I'll put it lightly, the tales over the years of who submitted the right paperwork and whose hours was on a napkin and whose was on a Post-it note. And a position like this, it's a self-investment because you're protecting the honor system of what you are earning to get paid for that. So it is crucial. It's crucial for not only us, but it's also crucial for the taxpayer that this is you are getting paid for what you earned for it. So that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Johnston. Any other comments or questions?
Just one last comment. David mentioned that we had about 20 positions. We actually have about 26 that we're advertising for. So you may see these positions already advertised. I wasn't putting the cart before the horse. What I was doing was, because we have so many positions, I didn't want to pay for our advertisements for individual positions. I wanted to provide a list and then refer people back to our website. So, and I didn't want this to hold up all the other positions that I'm advertising. So you'll see all 26, it's about 26 positions being advertised. We're advertising them on LinkedIn, the Career Center, Indeed, the Inner City News, Lavos, and The Voice. So they're already out there. So thanks for approving.
Thank you. Any other, Councilman Tucker? Oh, I'm sorry, Don.
And that your subcommittee went up.
Oh, I apologize. I thought, did I bring it out to the entire council? Councilman?
Just a process question. Do you use Chronos?
Do I use what?
Chronos.
Chronos, no.
So.
Timekeeping?
Our timekeeping. For timekeeping.
Oh, I thought you meant for advertising.
No,
Chronos.
Chronos. So, I guess if I was hiring a payroll manager, I would probably want to grab somebody with that kind of vision. Just a thought.
Is Chronos in place of ADP?
No, it's a time card.
It's a time,
where
it
you-
keeps track of
Like
everybody's
later.
time.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
It-
So
I
it's
mean,
certainly worth considering then.
Yeah, it's one of many products
Yeah.
out there.
Our ADP, that reminds me of that. I have not heard anything good about our relationship with ADP, including, and I was surprised, right? Because I always knew of them as very reputable, but even the MARB has suggested we go back out to bid. So that's something else the payroll manager would be doing. Thank you.
Interesting.
Yeah. But thank you for that recommendation.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Locke.
Yep.
Any other thoughts or questions?
Yeah,
Councilman
just wanna
Tucker?
say that, I just wanna recognize that I didn't work this morning. Mayor Boer, she got a promotion.
Maybe.
For just asking the questions about diversity and inclusion in hiring. Because I think that's important and I don't want that to be forgotten in this process. And, just reaching out to say, hey, what other, venues should we advertise in? Being thoughtful about that process, I really want to recognize and thank you for that. Yeah,
Thank you.
I think that's important and we should continue to do that in all of our, our hiring.
Mhm. Thank you, Councilman Tucker. Any other thoughts, questions? Okay, with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. And with that, this concludes the business of the Personnel and Civil Service Committee at 9:37.
Thank you, Chairman
Thank you.
Coletti.
Thank you.
Chairwoman Coletti. Moving on to legislative matters, back to Councilman Vargo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The time is 9:37, and your Committee on Legislative Matters is now in session. Members present are Councilman Locke, Councilwoman Tucker, Councilwoman Coletti, Councilman Johnstone, and myself acting as chair. First item on this evening's agenda, which I think is the only one, thankfully, is Communication L from Mike Agello, Deputy Corporation Counsel, regarding the renewal of the Master Municipal Agreement for Construction Projects, and I'm looking for a motion to approve.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And Mike, would you come up and give us an overview of what
Turning my yellow.
130-something pages say?
It's a fun document.
Light reading. So basically, over the last 10 years, we've had an agreement with the Department of Transportation to cooperate with us and help us fund various municipal projects. This is an extension of that agreement. It incorporates streamlined procedures that over the last 10 years they've incorporated. It is very technical as far as who advertises, who initiates a contract. Is it the state? Is it the municipality? This just kind of incorporates changes and tries to streamline that process. I've met with Abdul, the town engineer. He's looked over the contract with me. He has no objection to it. He thinks it's a good plan and something that we'll need in place for the next 10 years. So what we're looking for is for the council to authorize the mayor to sign the extension. We have a deadline of January 16th, which is why we kind of put it on the fast track and into this meeting tonight.
So this is a renewal of an agreement that was entered into about 10 years ago?
Correct.
Is there, are there any real substantive changes from that agreement to this agreement?
I wouldn't say anything that's crazy. All it does is there's one section, Section 4, that addresses a municipal advertised construction project versus the state advertised construction project. It's more of a technical distinction than anything else.
The sections that cover the engagement of the prime contractor, that, I mean, I'm assuming that's the general contractor on a project, right? Do those sections specifically comply with our own ordinances?
I believe they do.
Or would they, and if there's a conflict, what prevails?
Probably the state.
Okay. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from the council? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. And that concludes the business of the Legislative Matters Committee at 9:40. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Vargo. And we will reconvene the council as a whole at also 9:40. Next on the agenda, we have unfinished business. There is none. So we will move on to committee reports. Will the clerk, Madam Clerk, please read Communication A, overpayment refunds into the record.
Certainly. We have Communication A from the tax collector regarding overpayment refunds for December 2023, which will be filed with tonight's minutes.
Thank you very much. And reporting out from the Finance Committee will be Temporary Chairman Fargo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just as a point of clarity, I don't have to read B? Because that's in, I'll go past committee.
No, so that died in committee with a motion to deny. So, yeah.
Okay.
We would just report that it was denied maybe, and that was it.
Okay, so Communication B, to the Finance Committee, a matter of late fee waiver from Fatty's African Hair Braiding, did not come out favorably from the committee. Communication C, to the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Finance, to whom was referred the matter of Diane Dietman, Director of West Haven Youth and Family Services, regarding applications to the Community Development Administrative Block Grant Program Year 50 for funding for Program for Family and Children with Special Needs in the amount of $9,750, Adolescent and Young Adult Social Club in the amount of $4,200, Respite Care for the Parent Support Group of Special Needs Children in the amount of $3,000, and West Haven Youth and Family Services Clinic in the amount of $5,000, and Emergency Assistance in the amount of $8,000. Reports that the committee met on the 8th day of January 2024 to consider said matter. It is the unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Whereas the City of West Haven Community Development Administration has grant funds available for its 50th program year from July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025 through the Community Development Block Grant Program of the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. Whereas the City of West Haven Youth and Family Services desires to apply for funding for family of children with special needs in the amount of $9,750, Adolescent and Young Adult Social Club in the amount of $4,200, Respite Care for the Parent Support Group of Special Needs Children in the amount of $3,000, West Haven Youth and Family Services Clinic in the amount of $5,000, and Emergency Assistance in the amount of $8,000. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of West Haven, acting through the Youth and Family Services, Diane Dietman, Director, is hereby authorized to submit such application and to execute all contracts or amendments pertaining to any award thereof, and I so move.
Thank you, Chairman. I have a motion to approve a matter regarding applications to the Community Development Administration Block Grant Program fiscal year 50. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, point of order. Paul Dorsey, Corporation Counsel.
Thank you.
Referring the council back to Communication B. I would suggest a motion to deny rather than having the application not come out of committee.
To actually deny the matter?
Yeah, there should be a motion to deny the application.
Okay. Yeah, we can fit that
Thank
in.
you.
Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Chairman, can you go back to B?
Should I revert to B?
Yes, please.
Yeah, should I just move to deny?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move to deny the application for the fee waiver of Fatty's African Hair Braiding.
Okay, thank you very much. I have a motion to deny a matter regarding the late waiver fee for Fatty's African Hair Braiding. I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Chairman.
Communication D, To the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Finance, to whom was referred the matter of animal shelter donations, reports that the committee met on the 8th day of January 2024 to consider said matter. It is the unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Resolved. The West Haven Police Department has received the following donations totaling $625 for the animal shelter. Per Connecticut Statute 7-148C3 A and B, and General Order 98-04, we are forwarding these donations for approval. The City Council of the City of West Haven hereby approves the animal shelter donations to be deposited into the animal shelter donations account number 1010000-28285. Lois M. Dioro, $25. Elena Kuerman, $50. Teresa McLean, $25. Florence Palermo, $25. Angela Russo, $100. Angela Russo, again, $100. Scott Marsick, $100. Asset Mark Trust Company, $200. Total, $625. And I so move.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I have a motion to approve a matter regarding animal shelter donations. Do I have a second? Who was that?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
To the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Finance, to whom was referred the matter of Mark E. Payne Jr., Director of Parks and Recreation, regarding application to the Community Development Administration Community Block Grant Project Year 50 for funding for ADA access to Oak Street Beach in the amount of $27,000. Reports that the committee met on the 8th day of January 2024 to consider said matter. It is the unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Whereas the City of West Haven Community Development Administration has grant funds available for its 50th program year from July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025 through the Community Development Block Grant Program of the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. Whereas the City of West Haven Department of Parks and Recreation desires to apply for funding for ADA access to Oak Street Beach in the amount of $27,000. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of West Haven, acting through the Department of Parks and Recreation, Mark E. Payne, Jr., Director, is hereby authorized to submit such application and to execute all contracts or amendments pertaining to any award thereof, and I so move.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion to approve a matter regarding an application to the Community Development Administration Block Grant.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
To the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee of Finance, to whom was referred the matter of Abdul Qadir, City Engineer, regarding application to the Community Development Administrative Community Block Grant Project Year 50 for funding for Beach Street fencing in the amount of $150,000. Reports that the committee met on the 8th day of January 2024 to consider said matter. It is the unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Whereas the City of West Haven Community Development Administration has grant funds available for its 50th program year, July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025, through the Community Development Block Grant Program of the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. Whereas the City of West Haven Department of Engineering desires to apply for funding for Beach Street fencing in the amount of $150,000. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of West Haven, acting through the Department of Engineering, Abdul Qadir, City Engineer, is hereby authorized to submit such application to execute all contracts or amendments pertaining to any award thereof, and I so move.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion to approve a matter of an application to CDA for Beach Street fencing. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
To the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Finance, to whom was referred the matter of revision of Grants Coordinator position to a new position called Director of Grants and setting the salary at $90,000. Reports that the committee met on the 8th day of January 2024 to consider said matter. It is the unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Whereas, in accordance with her plan to improve upon the City of West Haven's functional operations, Mayor Dorinda Bora recognizes the need to make adjustments to certain positions within the city departments and fill vacancies in those positions. Therefore, Mayor Dorinda Bora desires to revise the current grants coordinator position by converting said position to one of director of grants. Whereas Mayor Dorinda Boer also desires to address the needs of the community, especially as it pertains to the processes involved in research, development, coordination, monitoring, and satisfying the reporting requirements for the various federal and state grant programs. Whereas the City of West Haven and Local 1103 have negotiated and agreed upon a recommended job description for the new position of Director of Grants. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of West Haven hereby approves the revision of the position of Grants Coordinator to a new position of Director of Grants, thereby eliminating the position of Grants Coordinator. Be it further resolved that the City Council of the City of West Haven hereby authorizes a salary of $90,000 for the Director of Grants position. Be it further resolved that the salary of the Director of Grants position shall be funded for the remainder of fiscal year 2023-2024 by utilizing the unused salaries of the vacant positions within the department's budget. And I so move.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You getting tired there?
I'm good.
You take a break? I have a motion to approve a matter regarding the revising of the grants coordinator position to a director of grants and adjusting the salary. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Can you take an extra second?
What happened to G?
Set the public hearing for G. Just
Yeah,
announce it.
that's-
Yes,
As I said,
and we are going to be setting a public hearing for communication G for Mayor Dorinda Boer regarding increase to building permit fees. And I ask that that public hearing be set to January 22nd at 6:55 p.m.
We will ask the clerk to do so. Thank you very much.
To the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Finance, to whom was referred the matter of restoring the Commissioner of Planning and Development salary up to $100,000, reports that the committee met on the 8th day of January 2024 to consider said matter. It is the unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Whereas, in accordance with her plan to improve upon the City of West Haven's functional operations, Mayor Dorinda Boer recognizes the need to fill critical vacancies within the city departments and to restore salaries in the budget that were previously reduced due to vacancies in such positions. Therefore, Mayor Dorinda Boer desires to restore the current Commissioner of Planning and Development salary up to $100,000. Whereas Mayor Dorinda Boer also desires to address the needs of the community, especially as it pertains to necessary comprehensive planning studies and keeping abreast of all intertown, regional, state, federal plans, projects, and programs that might involve or otherwise affect the City of West Haven. Whereas the Commissioner of Planning and Development is a position appointed by the mayor, and his or her term will run concurrent with the mayor. Whereas the City Council of the City of West Haven, in conjunction with Mayor Dorinda Boer, desires to restore the salary of the Commissioner of Planning and Development up to $100,000 in order to attract quality and qualified individuals and to stay competitive with surrounding municipalities for similar positions. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of West Haven hereby authorizes the restoration of the salary for the Commissioner of Planning and Development position up to $100,000. Be it further resolved that the salary of the Commissioner of Planning and Development position shall be funded for the remainder of the fiscal year to 2023-2024, utilizing the unused salaries of vacant positions within that department's budget. And I so move.
Thank you,
Second.
Mr. I have a motion to approve a matter regarding restoring of the salary of the Commissioner of Planning and Development, and I believe I have a second.
You just want to reward that beautiful reading.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes.
That concludes the business of, I don't say that, do I?
Yes, you do.
Oh, wait, that concludes the business of the Finance Committee, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to Public Lands, Chairman Donovan.
The Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Public Lands, to whom was referred the matter of the sale, lease, or transfer of 22 Ocala, transferring half of the lot to 16 Ocala Street, West Haven, and half of the lot to 24 Ocala Street, West Haven. Reports that the committee met on the 8th day of January 2024 to consider said matter. It is the unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Resolution. Whereas in accordance with the offer by the City of West Haven to transfer half of Ocala Street to the owner of 16 Ocala Street and the other half to the owner of 24 Ocala Street, West Haven, Connecticut, which has been considered by the City Council. Resolved that the City Council of the City of West Haven, after review and consideration, hereby approves the transfer of half of the 22 Ocala Street to the owners of 16 Ocala Street and half to the owners of 24 Ocala Street, West Haven, Connecticut.
Okay, I have a motion to approve a matter regarding the sale of 22 Ocala Street. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
And Public Lands is done.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to Personnel and Civil Service, Councilwoman Coletti.
Thank you, Chairman. To the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Personnel and Civil Service, to whom was referred the matter of creation of an Economic Development Director position, reports that the committee met on the 8th day of January 2024 to consider said matter. It is the unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Whereas in accordance with her plan to improve upon the City of West Haven's functional operations, Mayor Dorinda Borer recognizes the need to fill critical voids within the Economic Development Department. Therefore, Mayor Dorinda Borer desires the creation of a new position titled Economic Development Director. Whereas Mayor Dorinda Borer also desires to address the needs of the community, especially as it pertains to effectively managing the retention and attraction of businesses, incentive programs, redevelopment activities, and implementation of the economic development goals for the City of West Haven. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of West Haven hereby gives approval of the creation of an Economic Development Director position. Be it further resolved that the City Council of the City of West Haven shall take up the matter of approving and funding the salary of the Economic Development Director at a future date. And I so move.
Thank you very much. I have a motion to approve a matter regarding the creation of an Economic Development Director position.
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay, we have communication I to the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Personnel and Civil Services, to whom was referred the matter of creation of a payroll manager position, reports that the committee met on the 8th day of January 2024 to consider said matter. It is the unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. It's resolved. Whereas in furtherance to the recommendation of the City of West Haven's auditors Whittlesley report and the recommendation of the Municipal Accountability Review Board, it is Mayor Dorinda Borer's plan to improve upon the City of West Haven's functional operations. Whereas Mayor Dorinda Borer recognizes the need to fill critical voids within the city's payroll department by establishing the creation of a payroll manager position. Whereas Mayor Dorinda Borer also desires to address the needs of the community, especially as it pertains to effectively managing the city's payroll department. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council and the City of West Haven hereby gives approval for the creation of a payroll manager position. Be it further resolved that the City Council of the City of West Haven shall take up the matter of approving and funding the salary of the payroll manager at a future date. And so I move.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a motion to approve a matter regarding the creation of an Economic Development Director position. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so ends your Committee on Personnel Civil Services.
Thank you very much. Last but not least, legislative matters. But before we go ahead with that, thank you in the audience for sticking with us. We're getting a little giddy up here because it's so hot. in
It
this
is
room.
very warm.
And that's why we're going so fast. It's not like we want to get out of here, but it is very hot in this room. And you guys don't have to be here in the audience, so thank you very much for sticking with us. So that being said, on to legislative matters. Chairman Vargo.
You must be dying.
I'm dying over here.
To the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Legislative Matters, to whom was referred the matter of the renewal of the Master Municipal Agreement for Construction Projects, reports that the committee met on the 8th day of January 2024 to consider said matter. It is the unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Resolved that Dorinda Borer, Mayor of the City of West Haven, is hereby authorized to sign the agreement entitled Master Municipal Agreement for Construction Projects with the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation with a term of 10 years from the effective date thereof, and I so move.
Thank you very much. I have a motion to approve a matter regarding the renewal of the Master Municipal Agreement for Construction Projects. Do I have a second?
Second.
And that was second by Tucker.
Tucker. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay. That's it for
And
the
I,
committee?
and that is all from the Legislative Matters Committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Action on ordinances previously presented, seeing there is none. We will move on to council liaison reports. Do any liaisons have anything to report?
Oh.
Councilwoman Heffernan.
I am sorry to delay the departure. However, the last meeting, not the last meeting was canceled, the meeting before that, December 11th meeting, we were presented with the ARPA funds, and that I asked about the library's ARPA funds, and they've been given the $22,000 for their Navigator pilot program. And I was told they were going to receive more of the money that they are waiting for this program, and they have not received any more money. Oh, you do? Okay.
Okay.
I'm just bringing forth the concerns of the library.
Right. So that was 22,000. What were they supposed to be getting? Do you know?
Significant amount more.
Okay, we'll look into that.
Thank you.
I think I have the answer.
Would you like to?
I think I have the answer. That those were the laptops that went out,
Yes.
right, for the class. The application for the laptops didn't have a place to put income, and that was supposed to be a part of the application. So I think Colleen is working to send the updated application out,
Okay.
gather them all back so that they can release the funds,
Okay.
I think.
Okay. All right, so they're just waiting for more information.
I think so.
Okay. Thank you very much for the information.
Thank you. All set?
Yes.
Okay, any other liaison reports? Okay, seeing none. New business. Any council members have new business?
Yes.
Councilwoman, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. So I have two things that I would like to say. So I had an email from someone who resides in District 9 that said the Parker Avenue East sign on his street was changed to Parker Avenue Extension. He would like to know if was that a mistake? Or does he now have to change documents, licenses, or is this something that gets updated through the post office?
Okay. We'll have a letter sent out to find out if that was indeed a change or just a mistake. I have a feeling it was just a mistake by the sign company, but we're gonna have a letter to verify that.
Okay.
Something else. There is a Parker Avenue East extension on the other side.
He wants to know
Yeah.
if that's a mistake.
Okay, we'll
because,
verify that.
yeah, he's always lived at Parker Avenue East, so.
Right.
And then I had another resident in District 9 email me and said, complaining that there's a resident there. Am I allowed to say the address or no?
Just leave it out for now. I don't
Yeah.
know what it
So
refers
it
to.
was on Ivy Street.
Okay, perfect.
And apparently this person lives either right across the street or, he said that his neighbor on Ivy Street has an unregistered storage trailer parked on the lawn in front of the home. There's a white van with commercial plates is parked in the neighborhood. A commercial truck is parked at a different location that hinders visibility while driving in the area. And during the recent snowstorm, multiple vehicles were parked in front of this resident, and it was hindering the plowing. And there were no tickets given and no towing of vehicles.
Yes, if you can provide us with the addresses, I think we can send that to, is it code enforcement?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and I forwarded you the email.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so you have the
I saw it.
addresses.
I did. Perfect.
Two addresses there.
I'll send a letter.
Great.
All right.
Any other new business?
Nope.
Good.
Thank you.
Councilman Callahan? Councilwoman
Hi,
Callahan?
from District 6 on Florence Drive. And I did speak to Abdul today because I just happened to be in the building, but also they were present this evening as well, but they had called me. It's apparently a old drain up by the backing of Orinoco Villages to his residential home on Florence. It's an old clay, from my understanding, drain pipe. And the problem is that there's an 8-inch gap with a 12-inch pipe. So there's constant, huge amounts of flooding over in that area. So, it's new business. I only brought it up because it was brought to my attention today.
Right.
And also, they nicely attended and spoke this evening, and
Yeah.
also, I believe, obviously, Abdul's aware of it.
Right.
And then just, I don't know if this is new or old, but from our last meeting about the stop signs that the residents asked me about on Hillside and Lakeview, when I got the minutes, the streets are wrong. So I did correct it I CC'd an email to the police department that was first sent the letter, and back, I believe, to Diane, but the streets were wrong. So, where the stop signs were requested is Lakeview Avenue and Hillside Street,
Hillside Street.
with Lincoln being the middle vein between the two, and there should be stop signs on either side. In a good world, speed humps, but.
All right. We'll see if that's just a typo in the minutes or she sent it out.
Yeah, it was just because the streets were wrong, so I don't know, you know, we should probably clarify that.
Right, and that's to the traffic division. I think we already sent that out.
Did the letter go to the traffic division?
I think it was part of the things we asked for
And it
last
went to
meeting.
the police, the chief.
Went to the chief?
That's the only thing that I saw that I was CC'd on.
Yeah, so please want me to forward it on.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll have to, and that had the wrong addresses on it?
Yeah.
Mhm. I could forward it to you, Stacy.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And then I also want to let her sense it about 111 Ocean Avenue to see what's going on with that, get an update on that issue. It was 111, correct?
111.
Thank you.
Do you want my cell phone number? I can wait and give it to you.
Yes, absolutely.
Bless you.
Any other new business?
I have some.
Councilman Donovan?
Yes, first and foremost, I want to thank the chairman, the city council, and even the people that worked in City Hall over my dad's death, that the gifts that you sent, the love that you sent, the support that you've all sent, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And to Madam Mayor Borer, there are not enough words of thank you and of the generosity, the genuine person that you are. You're not just my mayor, you are my friend, and like I told you, you are now my family. Thank you very much for going over and above what a lot of people may have done. And so I thank each and every one of you here, and that's pretty much what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Thank you for those heartfelt words. Any other new business from the council? I just want to recognize some new business from the mayor in that case.
Yeah, now I'm gonna cry. Just a couple of quick things, and my pleasure, by the way. I know it's late and I know it's hot, but, one is that, we've put together, so the public knows, and it's actually gonna go on The Voice this week, for a conversation and connection, where we'll be hitting, each of the 10 districts. Myself, the council person, council at large, a Board of Education member, and a representative from Public Works as well. We're gonna make it as convenient because we heard about, the desire for more communication with our elected officials, so we'll be doing that. And I'll also be announcing, I'm gonna have some, periodic Saturday office hours, for those, who can't make it to City Hall. So we'll pass those out and we'll make those public. Number two, because there was a lot of folks here from arts, culture, and tourism, I wanna make sure I recognize them. I wanna make sure they know we are committed to seeing the promotion and the delivery of services and, all the great programming in arts, culture, and tourism. I had met with Arts West CT, I had met with Greater New Haven Arts Council, and I had let them know, at that time that I am, putting together the very near future, a blue ribbon panel on arts, culture, and tourism that brings together stakeholders in the city to get our arms around all of this. It's something I was involved with at the state of Connecticut, I was a part of, it was a successful model, so I think we could do it here. And then finally, I think I figured out what's going on with the cameras.
These cameras?
No,
Oh.
not these
I was gonna
cameras.
say, these whole-
That's something else.
Cameras.
Please, can't turn my computer on. So this project has gone around and around and around, right? So I've had a couple of meetings on it. The best I can understand is an employee who's not here anymore, had ordered a company to lay the groundwork and the connectivity for the cameras from the boardwalk to the police department. I don't know that this employee had the authority to do that. This company is saying we owe them money. This company saying we owe them a lot of money. Meanwhile, the ARPA committee was exploring another avenue that works with another company. So we have these two companies that were working on this, and that's why it's just disjointed. So we've had our IT department working on it, the police IT department working on it, ARPA working on it, everybody's working on it. So this week I said the police IT department are the point people for figuring out the best connectivity to the police department to be a hub for the city. Once we figure that out, then we will know how much money we have left over this $1 million. Bless you. I know our corporation counsel left. He is exploring exactly what we owe whom to. Oh, you're there? You're hiding. Well, thank you for exploring, you know, I'm just recognizing that you're exploring what we actually owe whom to, and then once we have that all figured out, we'll know how much money we have left, and then we'll know where else we could put cameras. So by Friday, we will know what program we're using.
Is this in response to the question about the cameras on the boardwalk?
This is about the cameras on the boardwalk.
So, I'm just being clear, because I don't know, it sounded like what you were saying was the cameras that lead to the police department from here, is that what you're saying?
Well, it's the cameras, yes, that the police department would use to monitor the
The
boardwalk.
boardwalk.
There was two different processes for connecting that,
Right.
you know.
But I think that the question, to be clear, that the way I understood the conversation and the question when they were here, or when Mr. Carney was here, was about whether or not cameras would cover the entire boardwalk or just half of it. So where Stowe's turns and goes down, there was a plan to not add cameras down that side of the boardwalk like we originally approved, it seemed. And they were only going in that direction towards
West Walk to Bradley
the West
Point.
Walk, Bradley Point. So my question was, what changed because we approved the cameras to be the entire length of the boardwalk?
You approved them to go through West Walk as well, right?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, so, Councilwoman Coletti, was working with the West Walk board. We wanted to get an official letter from them, recognizing that they want them. And we're gonna take that back and then stretch them out, and then we have to see how much money we have.
We mean to see if they want them.
Because, because some residents, I wanted the request to officially come from there, because they have a board of condos, residents, and some residents felt they didn't want cameras because they live on the boardwalk, and they felt it was intrusive. So I said, make sure you all agree, and then send us an official letter, so there's no resident that comes back and says,
But wouldn't they have come forward when we had the city, because we didn't do that without input from residents of the city, right? They would have had an opportunity to come and speak to that. I just don't like the idea of undoing something that was approved by the council from before. So I'm just trying to be clear about what it is that we're now doing, that we approve, because I don't want to undo something that so many people thoughtfully
right.
addressed.
So the goal is the boardwalk, figure that out, bring it through West Walk, bring it down further, depending on how much money we have. I don't want to promise that because I don't know if we spent $800,000 on this so far with still no cameras working. It's been twisting and twisting in the wind, this project. So that is the goal.
It ended at West Rock? It ended at West Rock?
That's the project I looked at.
Yeah, me
Yes.
too. Yeah, I looked at that map too, and it looked like it ended
That's-
at West Walk.
Yeah,
But
because that's what he said when he was here. That's what made
Yeah.
me say like what happened, because it was supposed to go the length of the boardwalk. So I just don't understand like why it's changing when it was approved, and who's giving people the authority to make it different and make it change when it was an approved plan from the council. So that's why I want to be respectful from the work that was already done.
Yep.
And if we're going to change it, then that's a dangerous precedent to set, because then everything else can then change, right? So I'm just want to be
Noted.
careful.
Jim, isn't West Walk is privately owned anyways, right? The West Walk itself.
I defer to Corporation Council, but I believe it's privately owned with us having a right of way.
Correct. They allowed us to kind of have, we maintain, I think, the sidewalks and everything over there. But I'm saying that by them adding it in, but I believe what the mayor was saying was because of the two entities that are working on this project now, there's more money that's supposed to be, that is spent, right? Because you got two companies or something, you were saying two companies now were battling and we might owe money to.
We might owe
We
money to the
might owe
company
money
we're
to-
not using.
Right, so that's where we might fall short of expanding down, which,
But that's even a problem. I mean, from a check and balance
Sure it is.
perspective, because this is what we worked so hard to not have happen. that we-
I just need to end this, because I don't know if this ends up in something more than it should be, as far as litigation goes. So, yeah, as far as litigation goes, we're talking about something where it's, if they both feel they're owed money, I just don't wanna make too many
Yeah, that's why I
comments
didn't
on
name
it.
their names.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Do you know what
but
I'm
I just
saying?
wanna give you update,
Yeah.
as you got $1
Because-
million aside, we don't know how much we spent.
Right.
We don't know how much we owe, we're figuring it out.
Fair enough.
And by your next meeting, we will have answers.
Thank you.
And a plan.
Is that, you're all set?
almost, thank you.
Done?
I'm all set, thank you,
Okay.
and thank you for all the work that you're doing.
Thank
Motion.
you. Thank you for,
Thank
I have a motion to adjourn. We have a second, we have a second. All in favor? Any opposed, any abstentions?
No, that's,
Yo.